Okay. We're up, I think. Wait, are we up? Am I up? I might be up. Hang on. It's doing something. Okay. King. Wampus, hi, how's it going? What do you mean jump scare? Well, it must be up on Twitch then, right? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Mariaki Pirate, hi. Fan Joseph, hi. Salpita, hi. Hello, Jack. Hello, Salami. Hello, Jamie. Hello, Walter. Hello, Overcommon. Hello, Sam. Hello, Durak. Hello, Joystick Blue. Hello, Drasmart. Hello there, Mr. Streamer Man. I'm back from camping. I'm happy to hear it, Dom. I was sitting in chat and got jump scared. Oh, well. You knew I was coming. Jasamiko, hi. Shin Kobotai, how's it going? SDF River, hi. Zal, hi. Wildroar, yo. Where was Wo? Hey. Hello, what the fuck is that title? Drama incoming? Probably. Honestly, I'm going to talk about this quite a lot more, but I think what's going to happen is there's going to be two sides to the ZZZ content creator. Like, base, if that makes sense. And one side is going to be elitist, and one side is going to be casual. And I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I was planning to take a break, but yeah, I kind of needed to come back. We need to talk about my inflation video. We need to talk about the reaction to it. We need to talk about some of the absolute dog shit takes that are being flown around. And yeah, but no doom and gloom. No doom and gloom today. I'm not going to be doom. I'm not going to be gloom. Everything is looking up. Who are we throwing hands against? I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I missed so many hellos. Shin, hi. SDF River, hi. Zal, hi. Where was well? What's good? Nosy you. Glitchy Soup, hi. Yo, Zels. Yo, Josh. Yo, Zeronexo. Yo, Fentol White. Yo, CL142, CL41A. Bum C1400. I mess it up every time. Anzol, hi. Super Bleeder, hi. Tab Miku, hi. ZG Senpai, hi. Yo, just graduated to Dolphin. Awesome, 66 roses. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Mac Miller's dog, hi. Jake Farm, hi. Why are we at war? I will explain. Weird to actually catch ALG live stream live. Hey, Unknown Nashi, what's good? Since gloves are off, what do you mean? Sorry, I missed that. Since gloves are off, would you feel Idari tentacles better? Time for pretend war? Maybe a little bit, but yeah. Do you at least get some sleep these days? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yo, Requiem, hi. JJC was good. Yo, Commander Pika House Keith. He's good. I bumped into him washing the car. Good guy. Also, ALG Saint mentioned in the latest vid and supported you. I'm glad to hear it. That's nice. I think I had a balanced take. I'm happy that people are okay about it. Hello, I'm new here. Hello, Menta Mega. How's it going? Hello, Levia. Hello, Christian Beneke. Hello, Teza Film. The ZZZ community situation is insane. I agree. Yeah. I've waited for your stream so long. Hello, Kishigiri. What's up? Hello, Chonks. Okay. The highs are done. The highs are done. We did one whole song of highs. New people come in now. I will continue to try and say hi, but I might miss it. Heavy Chaos, what's good? Okay. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about, all right? There's a couple of things I want to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the absolute, by the way, goated community support that I've been seeing following my video. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I feel like there's a part of me, though, that feels like... Hang on, the music's too hype. The music is way too hype. We need to chill this out. Okay, cool. So, I do feel like, though, that the like ratio is a lot higher than I was expecting. I was expecting this to be a lot worse. It's actually pretty good. I feel good about that. I feel like the ZZZ community is in the right space to hear that if things don't change, then a lot of players will leave. I actually sent your pin comment to the survey of ZZZ. Let's see if they respond. I did it too. Yeah, hopefully. Let's see. Those that spent their polys in the early 2.x, can FTP players realistically get Lucia and Idari in upcoming patch? Maybe. You'd have to save for a whole patch. And I think, to be honest, that's been the advice that I've been giving for some time, is that since, hang on, how long ago was it? But like since about 1.5, I've been saying we should be saving for one whole patch and then spending in a patch, because they're putting these characters back to back who are really, really good together. So, hang on, was it 1.5? It's around here. The hard sell, yeah. How Hoyle sells characters and what it means for you. It's basically like, okay, so what they're doing is they're back-to-backing all of these characters. And the reason that they're doing that is so that you have to spend. They're pushing you into a corner as players where they are forcing you to spend if you want Evelyn's best in slot team, or if you want Astra's best in slot team, or and so on and so forth. And then it was Trigger and Sambi. And then Hugo and Vivian, to be fair, were pretty chill, but they were rerun. They were run with rerun agents that were really good for them. So Lighter was on Hugo's run, for example. And then when we got, like Yuzuha into Alice, for example. Yeah, it's just Jufufu with Yishuan. They're just back-to-backing characters. The way that F to P players should be playing Zenless Zone Zero is they should be full saving and then pulling two characters together. Probably. Just go here. What's the title about? The title is about the fact that I feel like Zenless Zone Zero is... The community is... I think it's in a good spot, because I think it's ready to hear that the endgame is not going well. But I think there's going to be another side to the community. Specifically, we're gonna watch Josh's reaction vid in a moment. I think there's going to be another side to the community that doesn't agree with the idea that if HP inflation keeps coming, then this game could be in trouble. And I don't understand why that's so difficult. Saint's criticism is not bad. It's the way he says it that's bad. I agree. I completely agree. ALG basically said what Saint did, but he's Karma and British. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, I honestly, I'll be real with you. I watched the first few minutes of this. I could already tell it was going in like, it was going in a direction where he wasn't going to agree with me. And I want to react to it live. Honestly, that's what I went live for, is that I feel like there's going to be two sides to this debate, and it's going to be, we don't care, make the endgame harder, versus the endgame is shit. Honestly, here's the thing. I don't know if I necessarily want to be the representative for the endgame is shit, because I don't believe that the endgame is shit. I just think it is trending in an extremely negative direction. Reactions are nice, let's go. He's watching you now? Of course he is. Who wouldn't? Based. Anyway. Okay, right. Let's he doesn't entirely disagree with you, but he does make some interesting points. Yeah, we gotta talk about it, right? And like I said, I don't think that the endgame is bad right now. And here's the thing. If I explain myself for longer than 5 minutes, and here's also the other thing, right? Is that if I explain myself for longer than 5 minutes, it turns into this. It turns into a 2.5-hour stream of me just like yapping into the void and then trying to respond to what you guys are saying. But here's the thing. Let's just see what happens, okay? I want to react to what Josh is saying, but I also want to point out as well that I did do a post earlier. Hang on, here's my post. I want to load it up just so we can get an indication of what's going on. And basically, the reason why I asked this question, Kete asked something similar the other day, because I was on call with Kete before he asked his question about the DA score changes. And I specifically did want to ask how much people's scores have changed. Kete worded the question really weirdly. He said he wanted to ask his community, and I was like, that's cool. And I thought I would just use the data from that. But honestly, the way he asked the question was really weird. So I thought I would reword it and get some more information. We've had 500 votes so far. If you haven't voted, please do. I think that this creates like an interesting, what's the word? This will create an interesting like point of data that we can potentially use. Now the thing is though, is this a point of data for the entire player base? Not really, but you know, like it's the more engaged section of the player base for sure. And that's also why I was super curious about Kete's community, because I actually thought that his stuff would be slightly more skewed towards more dedicated players. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is like, this is going to be a really interesting data point. If you haven't voted, please do so. But just at a top level here, 79% of players saw their score drop by more than 5%. And 64% of players saw their score drop by more than 10%. So imagine you're clearing at like 63k and you're in this bracket. And you're part of like the more than half of players that saw the drop, right? Interesting. My EU server ranking stayed the same, yet my score drop is 20% worse. That's exactly the problem, Zels. That's exactly the problem. Are they taking the shield buffs into account? Well, we're just straight talking about scores. But what if next EA scores increase by 5 to 20%? Then we've corrected, right? We've overcorrected. I think the only thing about that poll is that we're not comparing the same bosses, but I agree my score is down a little. I know. But like, the question is like, how much did it change? Because I think that creates a really interesting point of argument. Because let's say as well, you're part of like the more than 50% of players who are getting like 40k. You're getting like 40k. Now all of a sudden, you're not clearing. You're not getting 6 stars. And then what? It starts to feel bad, and then more players leave the game. We can do without that. We could do without that. Anyway. All right, let's see what Josh has got to say. Like I said, I watched the first few minutes of this off stream, and then I was like, nah, I think we need to watch this. I think I need to watch this live. Now, I don't know, like, I think reacts to reacts on YouTube videos are cringe, so this won't get turned into a YouTube video, but yeah, if we're here, I think there's going to be some stuff to talk about.
ALG catching some heat for his honest thoughts on Zenless Zone Zero's endgame. Let's take a...
Am I catching some heat? Just so we're clear. Is this catching heat? Rezi agrees with me? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a little bit more heat than usual, but I think the Zenless community is ready to hear it. Yeah, I don't think it's heat. Only sexual heat. Catching dubs. I was very hateful in my comment, and I appreciate you for that. I love Zenless Zone Zero.
That's a lie.
I love Zenless Zone Zero, but recently that was not in the original video. Okay, both videos have 70 dislikes. Sus. It's been feeling a little less fun. So endgame currently feels less fun because it's harder and harder to play the way that you want to play.
Endgame less fun because it's harder to play the way you want to.
And part of the cause of this is... Okay, I'm catching... You're catching heat on Twitter and Reddit? I don't even have Twitter. The only reason I have Twitter is so that people can't impersonate me. Where am I catching heat on Reddit? All right, we'll check it out after the video. God damn it. Okay. HP inflation. So this graph here...
All right, first off, I'm already hating on this video because why the f are you so small in the left-hand corner, bitch? Make yourself bigger. I want to see your...
Because it doesn't matter. Because I don't care.
Your beautiful face.
It's not about me. Is showing anyway the HP from where it was and when Deadly Assault started back in 1.4 all the way up to now, and it's now over 330 million HP and pushing the HP up like 190 to 330 million. Just sure. This is making the game a little harder each time it happens, and it's a little bit... Someone posted your video to ZZZ discussions trying to spread the word, was not received the best. Oh god. Okay, well, we'll look at that in a minute. Please don't open Twitter or Reddit for the sake of your remaining sanity. I don't think we can go to Twitter. I literally just don't know if I have it in me. ALG feeling sassy? I am feeling sassy. I'm in a good mood though, guys. You remember last stream? It was all a bit doomer, but I feel like now I've got it off my chest. And not only have I got it off my chest, also the gloves are off. Like, if people are going to start coming at me, I am literally going to come at them all over their face. Difficult sometimes to call it out when this is happening. And we have been saying for a little while that, you know, oh, it's something that we need to keep an eye on. And I think now it's reached a tipping point where it's like, okay, this is definitely a pretty big problem.
HP inflation is
I'm trying to balance the audio, but he's got me quiet and then himself loud. Classic streamer.
pacing average characters. The average and boss design.
And if we got to fix ZZZ, if we ignore it, they'll keep on doing it. 100%. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is that, like, I'm gonna be real. I can already tell you that my next stream title is, what are we gonna call it? 1v5ing ZZZ elitists. Because there's gonna be a call. There's gonna be a call next week, and I think I'm gonna be on my own. So anyway, let's see. I'll explain. So the bosses are being designed in a way where they work with very specific characters or very specific teams.
Sure.
And what this I'll join you. Fuck yeah, Rezi. Yeah, I have your page pulled up, by the way, man. Not because not for anything like specific, but I actually was going to use you as a talking point of, look, the Billy main guy is literally saying, look, it's just not fun anymore. I don't want to play with Billy anymore. So yeah, anyway. Doing is it's limiting player creativity. No one talk about the Grace pregnancy post. I scrolled straight the fuck past that, man. Flexibility and expression by meaning that you have to. It's not doom posting, it's a concern. It is, and we're being critical, and we're constructively criticizing what's going on in the game. We're not dooming. It's all good. Rezi's always gooning though. You gotta be careful. All right, man. Why are you lying? I told you I was with you on the call next week. Oh, yeah, that's true, Kete. That is true, Kete. Yeah, I'm looking forward to you being there. I'm still going to call it 1v5ing ZZZ Elitist. I hope you know that. Run certain teams into certain bosses.
Have to run certain teams for certain bosses. Keyword, have. You have to run certain teams for...
Okay, yeah, that's out of context, though. Is that out of context? Hang on, let me take it back. Because... what I'm saying is that you will have to at some point in the future. I think. Point where it's like, okay, this is definitely a pretty big problem.
HP inflation is outpacing average characters. The average and boss design.
And I'll explain. So the bosses are being designed in a way where they work. That's what I'm checking. Very specific characters or very specific teams.
Sure.
And what this is doing is it's limiting player creativity, flexibility, and expression by meaning that you have to run certain teams into certain bosses. No, you're right. You're right. I didn't say in the future you're going to have to run certain teams into certain bosses. I'm saying you currently have to run certain teams into certain bosses. That's my bad.
To run certain teams for certain bosses. Keyword.
ALG, are you going to name your VOD Elitist Ruin ZZZ? I don't know. Let's see what happens on the call next week.
Have. You have to run certain teams for certain bosses. Now, not my words. Not my words. Let's continue.
Now, stay with me here, because right now, at 330 million total HP, I think the Defiler... Are you still sad? No, I'm good. I'm a little bit sad, though. I am a little bit sad that I'm not chilling right now, because I should be editing an account review video that I did a couple of streams ago, but instead I'm just live. Because I was like, I just really want to watch this video, and I really want to talk about this, and I feel like the aftermath of this whole ZZZ's endgame is getting worse thing is, I think it was worth going live for a couple of hours about, all right? No more fighting after next week. Okay, yeah. I still plan to do new Shield on stream. Yeah, I haven't done it yet. We will do it. Specifically has like 99 million HP.
She is thick. Am I right, boys?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why they would do. I don't know what they were cooking with that design, man. The boss does not exist in isolation without the context of this history. And the okay, right. So, sorry, I missed a follow. One Chungus, thank you for the follow. The only reason I'm not struggling is because I have top 3 DPS, Alice, Miyabi, Yishuan, and the 2 best supports. Hey, you know, that's awesome. Is this untrue? I don't have Jane, Yuzuha, or Alice, and I'm feeling it. Mm-hmm. History here is telling us that the HP is going to go up on it. It gets harder and harder for players to express creativity and to play the game the way that they want to play it.
What does playing the game that they want to entail, right? Because this game clearly has a level of progression. Are you supposed to always be able to play that the way that you want to play? I pose this question to you, chat. Should you always be allowed to play the way that you want to play? Because this game allows for a lot of creative expression when it comes to team compositions, team builds. And
what do you think, guys? Do we think that the game should allow you to play the way you want to play? Because what I'm talking about is the fact that the endgame bosses are specifically designed around different specifically characters, but also team archetypes. And I think that means that you're ending up in a position where sometimes you just can't play the team you want to play. Miyabi, like, and Sukaku could clear Fiend, but you're not going to be able to freeze the boss. You know, if that's the team you wanted to play, you're shit out of luck this DA. And that's an end game team. We cannot argue that's not an end game team. That was the end game team. It's not that bad. Like, I'm not saying it's crazy, but yeah, I don't think it's that bad. More neutral bosses and not shilling towards attack or anomaly, 100%. 100%. More neutral bosses would mean an opportunity for you to play the game you want to play. Sure, you can still have weaknesses and resistances, and you can still have situations where we debuff anomalies and stuff like that, but sorry, there's a $10 donut. I'm just going to check it. Just a reminder for any of you that don't understand all gacha games, they are casinos dressed up like a strip club. It is for whales from day one. Act accordingly or get out of the space. That's not true, though, because the way the gacha games work is that they have to bring you in at a certain point. So what they're doing is they are going to bring you in with decent combat, decent gameplay, decent story, and then they sell the game to you, right? And that's the situation we're in with ZZZ right now, right? We've reached a position where the free-to-play players were eating good for a while, and now they're not, which means the ZZZ is essentially just giving up on bringing new players in. And now it's just, at some point, it could just be, hey, we're done. That's it. Like, no new players are coming in. We're just going to cater to whales and dolphins. And honestly, that's where most of the money gets spent. But that's also like a fast-track way for your player base to stagnate and then eventually just die off. And also, the faster you power creep, the more whales are going to get pissed at it. Because if they M6'd a character 3 months ago, well, that's actually, like, crazy. But if they M6'd a character in, like, 1.2 or something, and now they can't even fucking use them, well, then what good is that? Anyway.
I mean by creativity in the sense that, like, you still need to build the character.
Kete the 7th is calling me. Shall I answer? I should answer. We love Kete the 7th here. Give me 2 secs. Give me 2 secs. I don't even know if I have my Discord open. Where is it? Do I have the call thing open? Hang on. Give me a sec. Are you there?
What the? Bro, why the fuck are you lying?
What do you mean?
Dude, I
What?
called you 30 minutes ago.
Did you? I didn't see.
It literally says I have a. Let me take a screenshot since your bitch ass is lying. I'm just chilling watching your stream now, nigga. You didn't have to call me. What the fuck?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I missed it. It was calling just now. I don't know, man. It literally just rang just now.
Called 30 minutes ago.
Bruh,
I'm just your stream. Nigga, get the fuck off the call and go back to your fucking react.
I honestly thought you wanted to just get in here. I didn't know what was going on.
Shut the fuck up and go back to your react, nigga. Damn.
Brother, come on.
God damn.
I hung up on him. Literally, like my phone was literally vibrating on my desk. Anyway, we're going back. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, play the game you want to play. Yeah, play the game you want to play. Let's play the game we want to play.
But was this game created with the intent of allowing you to play whatever you want to play? Some players' agency should be possible, feeling that you're forced into a specific team, especially as F2.
Some agency should be possible. The feeling that you're forced into teams, especially as SFPs, is not great. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because then you reach a position where you just haven't built a rupture team yet, and there's such a rupture shield that you can't clear it. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's right now. It's not right now. But with the history that we have here, the HP inflation that we can see, it fucking could be.
F2P is not great. Well, how many teams do you have as an F2P for him? Not many teams. So if you're just saying it's because of the entire model and structure of the game...
Did you just learn how to cuss or something? Who, me?
That's tough. Granted, there is something to
wait,
be said
what's Josh saying?
to beat miasma. You can't, but you haven't increased your skill, and you haven't increased...
Skill issue. Skill issue, guys. Guys, here we go. Here's the elitist take. You have skill issue. There it is. It couldn't be me. It's a skill issue. I'm so sick of refuting the argument of skill issue, man. I'm so sick of it. You just skipped 16 minutes in? Did I? Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, shit, we're all the way back here.
Access everything. Zenless Zone Zero holistically very
Oh
accessible.
no, I missed. We were still back here.
Be accessible.
F to P.
Great. Well,
yeah, okay, right. Yeah, sorry. F to P. Sorry, we're skipping back.
That like you still need to build the characters. But was this game created with the intent of allowing you to play whatever you want to play? Some players.
Please stop watching. There's nothing of value on the screen. I want to see what he says. I want to know. I need to know.
The agency should be possible.
Like at the end of the day, he's a player, right? He's a player of the game. We should understand what Josh's thoughts on it so that we can. So that we can, you know, think about the type of player that's like Josh that would think in a certain way.
Feeling that you're forced into a specific team, especially as an F2P, is not great. Well, how many teams do you have as an F2P for him? Not many teams. So if you're just saying it's because...
I mean, it also depends how long he's playing as well, but yeah.
Because of the entire model and structure of the game, that's tough. Granted, there is something to be said that content should technically be accessible by the F2P squads. I have to agree. I think a good baseline is that...
Content should be accessible by F2P squads. Exactly. If Manito's shit, we're so fucked. How often do you think pulling a new character to keep up with the content would be healthy for the game, in your opinion? I think it completely depends. It depends on when someone started, and it depends on, you know, like, what they got at that point. Because, for example, if someone started in 1.4, they, in theory, wouldn't have to pull anyone for a while, because they would have Haramasa, and then they could have pulled maybe, like, one character, like Astra, and then they, probably considering the HP in 1.5, maybe could have just got away with... Like, yeah, it just got away with two teams, with a completely F to P team. Like, it completely depends. And also, like, here's the thing as well, Eggies. Like, I think, thank you for the $5, by the way. But I think the way that the HP inflation is going, whatever answer I give now won't be valid in, like, 6 months or a year's time. Because... in 6 months or a year's time, there's a very real chance that we're not talking about, like, you know, potentially clearing with A ranks. Sometimes clearing with one limited S rank might be necessary currently. Okay, that's where we are right now. We'll be talking about normalizing 2 or 3 limited S ranks per team. And then it's like, Jesus, fuck. Well, then that adds up massively, either in terms of time as an F to P or in terms of, like, actually spending money. And then the faster things go, the less that money feels valuable and worth something. So in the end, they even just end up chasing the whales and dolphins away.
Content should be accessible to all F2Ps, meaning that I don't need to...
Holy shit. Thank you for the $20. What is keeping F2P from using Haramasa? I said this Reddit and got a lot of defensive pushback. He can get 30k with effort. Nothing. I think the reality is, though, is that sure, 1.4 drew in a lot of players. Lumi Phantom, thank you for the $20, by the way. Yeah, but 1.4 drew in a lot of players. 1.4 had a lot of players coming in, and therefore they got Haramasa for free. And they probably pulled Miyabi because she was on banner for so long. But then, following that, we probably also got a large influx of another lurker. Thank you for the sub, much appreciated. We probably also got another huge influx of players around 2.0. So 2.0, big new story patch, big new marketing push. You get loads of new players coming in at 2.0, and then we're just not able to, like, actually, you know, like, they can't get it. And everyone who started in 1.5 because they thought Evelyn was hot, and everyone who started in 1.6 because they saw Sambi, face of the game, was in the game, and everyone who started in 1.7 because Husbando, Hugo, do you know what I mean? Like, there's always something that's going to draw a player in, and yeah, like we already mentioned Haramasa, but yeah, like if a player had Haramasa, then yeah, sure, they can use him by all means. Husbando, Hugo. But yeah, another lurker. Thank you for the 3 months, much appreciated. And Aatrox, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I'm from 2.0 myself. Yeah, and that's completely fine. And it shouldn't feel like a huge ramp up to endgame. It shouldn't feel like, I got to play this game for 6 months now. Like a commitment, like a job. And then by the time 6 months comes, like if you're F2P and the HP's gone up more and you need more limited S ranks and you keep losing those 50s, skill issue.
To reach a certain level to be able to attempt something. Does that make sense? Let's say,
You're actually on the right side, ALG. Casual players would just quit the game if the end game is too hard. Exactly. And then the whales, like, if they continue to push it up, the whales leave too. Because they're like, what was the point in M6ing this character? I can barely use them. Black Sinister, thank you for the member. Welcome to member.
in other games, let's say Stygian Onslaught in Genshin, I need to finish level 5 in order to even get access to level 6, which is dire.
I agree this affects new players and even more because as the game goes on, it will be harder, sorry, it's gone off my screen, and harder for them to clear content with a smaller agent selection. Exactly. Thank you so much for the $5 eggies.
As a clear example of what I'm talking about, I cannot access that thing at all unless I finish 5, or the Fearless mode, whatever it is.
I haven't played Genshin in a really long time, guys. I don't know what Stygian Onslaught even is.
In Stygian Onslaught. In Zenless Zone Zero, you could say that Tower in some ways is restrictive, but when it comes to Deadly Assaults, you get access to all 3 levels straight up. Geo Defense might also kind of fall under that umbrella. If you don't finish level 6, you can't get to level 7. Understandable.
I was able to do Wuwa Middle Tower as a tourist on neutral max stars on first try. Why can't we have the same in ZZZ? Razor. 07s. 07s in chat for Razor. Razor actually, and I, like, shout out to Razor. We had a very chill yap before I recorded this HP inflation video. And it actually kind of made me feel like going into it that the community would have my back. Because I was so, I don't know what the right word was. I was so scared that the community was going to turn on me, especially after that stream. You remember that stream I did? Holy shit. I was so scared that the community was going to, like, fucking disown me. But now I feel like, okay, we're here. And I think what we're going to do is we got to fight. We got to fight for ZZZ.
But Geo Defense is very, very accessible at the F2P level. Hollow Zero, there's no...
I don't have your back on this one. You look like an idiot. Okay, Shino, can you explain? Already 3 months with average luck, grandpa. Thank you, Soniku.
real gatekeeping there. They have a lot of buffs, and if you play right, then you can access...
Holly! The reason Wales quit was the point of buying M6 characters. No casuals anymore. I can show it off too. Kind of also, yeah.
Everything. Zenless Zone Zero, holistically, very accessible. Like 99% of the content is accessible. And to me, I think we're holding the standard a little bit too high in the sense that content should be clearable by F.
Is he talking about Genshin now, or is he talking about Zenless?
F2P. I don't necessarily think that should be our metric. Does that make sense? And hopefully you guys can understand from my perspective of being a much more realist about it, because I understand.
You always look like an idiot. I still have your back. Look, honestly, I really don't mind if I look like an idiot. It doesn't bother me. Like, I can take it.
that if you're a pure F2P account,
F2P should be able to play it but not clear it. That's the take. Is that the take? Bruh, am I missing this? Hang on. I'm gonna just take it back, and I'm just gonna like not. I'm just gonna not look at chat, and I'm gonna fully focus on what Josh is saying here, because I haven't moved. Right? He's talking about Stygian Onslaught. Okay.
access to level 6, which is dire, as a
Okay,
clear
now he's
example
going back
of
to
what I'm
Zenless.
talking about. I cannot access that thing at all unless I finish 5, or the Fearless mode, whatever it is in Stygian Onslaught. In Zenless Zone Zero, you could say that Tower in some ways is restrictive, but when it comes to Deadly Assaults, you get access to all 3 levels straight up. GU Defense might also kind of fall under that umbrella. If you don't finish level 6, you can't get to level 7. Understandable. But GU Defense is very, very accessible at the F2P level. Hollow Zero, there's no real gatekeeping there. They have a lot of
I think, again, we're talking about now. Like, Shield Defense is accessible now, but it's going up. Everything's going up. The HP's going up, boys.
buffs, and if you play right, then you can access everything. Zenless Zone Zero, holistically, very accessible. Like 99% of the content is accessible. And to me, I think...
Yeah, because, like, realistically, when you're saying 99% of the content, like, 99% of the content is, like, the story and the events and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, like... in theory, if you just completely ignored the endgame, completely ignored it, you'd still be playing 99% of the content.
I think we're holding the standard a little bit too high in the sense that content should be clearable by F2P. I don't necessarily think that should be our metric. Does that make sense? And hopefully you guys can...
Does that make sense? I don't know that I understand. So it should be clearable. But doesn't that just mean that you can beat it as an F2P? Am I confused? So he's agreeing then. I think that's what he's saying. I think he agrees.
Understand from my perspective of being a much more realist about it, because I understand that if you're a pure F2P account and you're using just A tiers or whatever, blah 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 blah, or standard units, you probably can't clear 9-star DA unless you're...
I'm going to read Shino's message because I asked him to explain and he did. While you're correct about this being a big hike in HP, it's only in day A, and as myself, I'm a casual gamer. I don't have any M6 character, but I only buy the internet pass like you do. I'm still getting 20k on DA to get 9-star. I use weird comps, and I've gotten 21 to 23k. Your skill level goes up as HP goes up, and we get new buffs, kits, etc. to make characters keep up. I admit S rank is a bit lacking. Yeah, I think, though, the thing is, Shino, is that, like, you have to... The way I'm trying to think about it is I'm trying to think about it not just from my own perspective, but trying to think about it from other players' perspectives as well. And I think if new players are coming into the game and reaching a situation that has been scaled based on your experience of the game, then they're going to have a rough time. Shiyu HP went up in double. I haven't checked it. We can. Should we check it right now? But no. I'm not going to sidetrack. We're doing the react. We're 4 minutes in. Okay, we've literally only made it 4 minutes in.
God tier Billy player or God tier Nekomata player. If clearable means 20k on DA, then it should be possible. Well, here's the thing. Clearable doesn't mean 20k. Doesn't mean 30k, 40k, whatever. Clearable in terms of DA, reference to stars, because you only need 6 stars to technically access the polychromes, which...
Yeah, that's bullshit. If I couldn't 9-star on DA, I'd quit the game. Full stop. I'd be like, this game is cooked. I'm out. It doesn't matter that you only need 6 for the polychromes. It just doesn't matter. I'd be anyway.
Should be your frame of reference, and the way in which they promote certain aspects or certain achievements in the game shows you where Zenless wants you to be at.
Going from account that could 9-star to not being able to, I would agree. Yeah, exactly. Like if my account could 9-star comfortably in one DA, and then the next DA it just straight can't. Yeah, I think I would be like, I would be stun locked. I would be like, I don't even know what to do. I'm done. I played since day one.
Zenless wants you to clear Shiyu 7. Zenless wants you to clear 6 stars on DA. Zenless
Yeah,
only
that's
wants you-
subjective. Yeah, like I think everyone has their own metric by which they, what they want to achieve with the endgame content. And if what you want to achieve with the endgame content is just getting the polychrome, then that's fine. But I think at a certain point, when you've played a game for a certain amount of time and you've been clearing at a certain level for a certain amount of time, I think it's okay to expect that to continue. FTP should 9-star even at 25k, but not kill. I think that would be fair and healthy standard. I don't necessarily think that's true, because I think if an FTP made really good plays, as in like pulled the right characters and maybe pulled some really, really key weapons, maybe not all of them, just a couple of weapons here and there, and maybe pulled like some really goated characters that work really well together, I think they deserve to get a higher score. We're playing the game to have fun, including endgame. I feel like some of these people treat the endgame as it should not be fun. I agree. Yeah, I feel like they sometimes when people talk about it, it feels like they're talking about a job. It should be fun. And for me, it's fun to fully clear it. It's fun to get the 9 stars. That's the fun. It's like, oh, how do I get the 9 stars this week? Oh, maybe I could use Haramasa here. Oh, that'll be fun. Anyway.
to go max tower 50, right?
It's not about the 9 stars, it's about how people who easily cleared on 9 are now barely scraping the barrel. After just one cycle, HP went up, and it goes on 6 stars will be the luxury. Yeah. I mean, 25k is a baseline, not a ceiling. Okay, yeah, that's completely fair, Eggies. Completely fair. Quick question, is this farming supposed to be this soul-crushing? Yep. Yep, probably.
Let me check. Tower 25, right? Polychromes is 15. 15! Don't tell me, chat. Don't tell me.
And I think this argument makes sense in other gacha games when there's other stuff to do. I think in ZZZ, because all you have is the combat and the events and the story and stuff, but once you're done with the events and the story, you log in every week and you do the Shiyu and you do the DA. And that's it. That's all you're doing. There's not really much else to do. And I think in Genshin, it's if I'm not getting the full rewards, it's fine. I get to run around with my cute characters and stuff. But yeah, the combat is so key to the way that the game works that I think it's intrinsically linked. I have this guttural reaction, this feel that I just want to fully clear it, because that is what the game is.
You can't do floor 50. Again, in reference to ALG, right? This argument is for DA.
And it forces us to use the specific teams that the game wants us to use against these bosses, which for me feels less fun. It also becomes a much steeper learning. That's it. It's less fun. You remember when we could freeze bosses? Bye. For people coming in, and it's going to become. When's the last time Yoji posted? Sorry, Rezi. We will come back to you at some point. Nine days. Bruh. Sad. Harder for players to pull all of the characters they need for these teams.
As game progresses, it gets harder to pull for the characters.
It would be nice to have a more casual, personally, with co-op mode to mess around with instead of high challenge. Yeah, I think it kind of needs that, man. I think it kind of needs that. You should have called this out months ago, and now the game is dead, and you want to pull a Jesus and resurrect. Honestly, good luck when you have to deal with... I'm not going to say that word, Callum. Callum, please don't say that word, man. I'm going to time you out if you say it again. Actually, I timed him out anyway. But yeah, I think anyway, let's carry on.
Designated for the bosses.
Potentially, especially if the HP continues to go up, then the idea of normalizing 2 or 3 limited S ranks per team will be something that happens. And that's where I am about it. Echo what I said at the start. Yeah, to reference the game is dead, I don't believe that the game is dead, guys. I honestly do think that the player base is falling off And anecdotally, I keep seeing comments and I keep seeing people who I've talked to about the game before. I think 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of my Discord mods out of like, I think there was like 10 Discord mods have stopped playing. Like, yeah, I don't think the game is dead. I think, but I do think that portions of the player base are just like, I'm kind of done. Hey, I think guys, I think they can save it. I love this game. I want it to get better. I want to carry on playing it. And portions of the player base might very well think this is just skill issue. The numbers are going up. The direction. Game makes a lot of money still. It does. It does. Let's not go on. Yeah. And we could all end up playing the same teams against whatever bosses they design for those. I feel like I'm just reacting to myself now.
Are you ready to bring in Devil's Advocate Josh? Are you ready to bring in Josh Hoyerverse to defend?
It's Josh Hoyerverse, everyone.
John Zenless. Endgame is less fun because it's harder to play the way that you want to. There are a couple ways you can kind of take that angle. Because, hey, what if I want to use Grace, Pan Yi-Hu, and Lighter?
Okay, so he's reducing this down to like the simplest possible way, and I see what he's doing, but he's kind of not taking what I said in context. But if you want to play Grace, you build a Mono Shock team. If you want to play Pan Yin-Hu, you build a Yixuan team. And if you want to play Lighter, you build an Evelyn team. Like it's that simple. It's that simple. Saint Hontus, thank you for the raid. Holy shit. Wow, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. If you don't know me, my name's Average.Gamer. We are talking about Zenless Zone Zero. We're in fact watching a video where someone is reacting to my take. This won't turn into a YouTube video, but yeah, we're reacting right now. We're reacting. Okay, we're gonna take this back just a little bit.
Play the way that you want to. There
Play
are
the way you want
ways
to.
You can kind of take that angle. Because, hey, what if I want to use Grace, Pan Yi-Hu, and Lighter?
Then you build 3 teams around those characters. We've talked about this before. I've talked about this in my waifu over meta videos. If you're pulling for waifu or playing for waifu, you have to build for those waifus. Holy shit, thank you for the follows, guys. Jesus Christ. Bigalar, Wicked John, Sakura Haida, Berserker Terra, Teeth, Caxian 3, you Philly. Bro, I ain't gonna keep up with all that. But thank you all so much for the follows. Holy shit.
Those are my 3 favorite characters. Those are my 3 favorite characters, chat. Grace, Lighter, and Pan Yin-Hu. They're pretty cool characters. I feel like a lot of people, you know, are fans of Grace. A lot of people are fans of Lighter, and Pan Yu is a fucking...
That's fine.
Panda. What content do you think I could clear with a team of Grace, Lighter, and Pan Yin-Hu?
All of the content. You have to build for that content. Razor, thank you so much for the sub. So yeah, you build a Mono Shock team, you build a Yixuan team, you build an Evelyn team, or a Fire DPS team, or an Ice DPS team. Then you build your 3 teams around your 3 favorite characters.
What content? Level 1.
Razor, thank you for the sub. I don't know if I said that. Thank you.
The dailies. I could clear my dailies. Oh my god, you guys are so right. Shiyu floor 1. I can clear the story. Clear your battery farming. Yep. And even then, you probably still have a little bit of struggle. But that's...
Okay, yeah, he's kind of reducing the argument that I'm making to like its simplest level to make it seem silly. And that's what he's doing. He's making it seem silly. It's not silly. It's not a silly argument. If you want to play those characters, you build teams around those characters. But then the problem is that the Grace Mono Shock probably doesn't build up Anomaly fast enough for you to get 20k on Defiler. I mean, right now, it's probably fine. But when the HP goes up in 3 weeks' time, you know, like sheer TA reset in a week, 2 weeks, maybe it won't be.
It's the way I want to play, guys. I love those 3 characters. That's not what ALG was saying, but understand, chat, the argument of...
Then again, you add in a better electric DPS in some way that you can play with Grace. Potentially, you can still play with Grace. You can.
Playing the way you want to is very, very subjective. Incredibly subjective. To the point where I can basically spin that argument of saying, I would use Grace, Lighter, and Pan Yu-Hu, and you're like, Of course I'm being limited to play what I want to. There's no content that would, you know, these characters don't even go together in the first place. So
bro, can we skip this part? Like, I feel like he's missed the point completely.
why would it make sense? That's ALG's exact argument taking the stream.
And how he spent the whole time being a debate lord instead of genuinely engaging with the point.
Exactly. But now I want to pull it back. Now I want to pull it back to his argument. What if I...
Grace Monoshock is still finality, not truth at all, but I'm not having an issue. Nice. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. I'm pretty sure as well, like, I know R2 has like M3 Haramasa, but I'm pretty sure I saw like a clear that was solid against Defiler. Did he post a clear on Defiler? I'm pretty sure he did. But anyway, yeah, I think like yeah, if you're skilled with Haramasa, Monoshock team, yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, R2 cleared Defiler with Mono Ice. Based.
want to use a team of Soldier, Kaleda, and Lucy. That's a really good team, isn't it? That's a synergistic team. It's a free-to-play team, as standard as
Soldier, Kaleda, and Lucy. You clear one of the current DA bosses with Soldier, Kaleda, and Lucy. Kaleda can, yeah. Lucy M6. The S ranks would be M0. No limited engines. Yeah, I don't think it's happening.
ranks and A ranks. Mono Fire
That's not just an FTP team. That's a first patch FTP team. Yeah, it's a first patch FTP team that can't keep up right now.
team. What if I were to use that team against the Miasmic Fiend? How good do you think I'm gonna do?
Razor, thank you for this. I only just got the notification. I don't know.
Probably not that great either, huh? Especially when the fact that he is she is resist to fire. Try it right now.
Did you see Kete like 40k Defiler with crit grace besides the point but still crazy? Yeah, that's because Kete's actually goated at the game. He pretends he's not, but he's so fucking good. Thank you, Aggies, for the $5.
I don't think I need to. I think it's fun to say I like the design of the character. I want to use the character, and the game is designed to punish me for using this character that I like. Or let's say Sugar. I don't mean to one guy you, but I love the way you brought that argument up because that's the exact point that ALG is making. Hugo,
Bruh, I have Mindscapes on Trigger and Astra. Okay, well, yeah. What Mindscapes is your Astra, by the way?
fans are in shambles. Well, funny enough. Of course, the team has to make sense. There's a difference between being able to play a synergistic team that respects boss mechanics and being forced into playing one specific team. But here's the thing.
Thank you, chat. Thank you, Josh's chat. Thank you to whoever that was in Josh's chat. Good work.
This argument, endgame is less fun because it's harder to play the way you want to. In respects to synergize with the boss, in respects to going with the grain on the boss.
Let him cook.
That's not it. Endgame is less fun because it's harder to play the way you want to. Well, ALG's way that they want to play, again, ALG's platform is very much based off of budget F2P teams. He is the average luck gamer. ZZZ beef? No, that's not beef at all. But trying to...
I don't know. It feels pretty beefy.
To dissect the conversation. There's so many flaws in the argument. What is the way you want to play? Because if the way I want to play is lighter Panyu and fucking and Hoojable, what's it? The ALG's like, no, of course that's not what I meant. Then what is fun to you? Because
like, yeah, I mean, like fun is like subjective, right? It's like, to be honest, if someone's favorite 3 characters in the game were Lighter, Panyan-Hu, and Grace, and they were like, bro, I wonder if I can get 1 star with those characters, then fucking go for it. Have fun. Like, there's nothing else to do anyway. Yeah, but like, but realistically, if those are your 3 favorite characters, you build the characters, you build the teams around the characters. It's, I don't understand the argument, really.
Fun is different for everybody. So you can't base your argument off of that, because I can say I have fun using Yishen, Panyu-Hu, and Jufufu. And guess what? I'm having a lot of fun because Miasmic Priest, you know, these characters do very well against Miasmic Priest. And these characters that I find very fun respect and go with the grain of what the enemy is providing. So let's say you bring in the Soldier, Kaleda, Lucy team into Miasmic Priest. Can you still clear? Oh, hell yeah. And I want to pose it from you from the developer's perspective, chat.
Wait, what? What did he say? What?
Against Miasmic Priest. And these characters that I find very fun respect and go with the grain of what the enemy is providing. So let's say you bring in the Soldier, Kaleda, Lucy team into Miasmic Priest. Can you still clear? Oh, hell yeah. And I want to pose... from you from the
Why
developer.
don't we just play the horse game? Yeah, I like the horse game. It's got Gamba within the Gamba. I like the Gamba in the Gamba. It's fun.
Developer's perspective, chat. The start shouldn't be the players and putting in whatever they want to the
He
bosses.
keeps moving his camera
The way
around as
in
well.
which you
Like he was
construct
here
the
and then he's
game
there.
is by providing
God,
a
what am I doing?
problem that the players need to solve. Like
Show the clear. Show the clear.
Just think Sudoku, all right? Think a mixed Rubik's Cube. You have a problem, a situation, specific set of
And who's the you and can you still clear here? Yeah, 100% Holly. Yeah, like you'd have to. Like I'm not saying that Soldier 11, Khalida, and Lucy couldn't clear Miasma Priest. It like clearing with 3 stars though. That is goated. That is absolutely goated Soldier 11 play. Hugely goated. I'm imagining that the S ranks are M0 and Lucy is M6. That is honestly. Honestly, that would be really good.
rules in which you need to clear said content. That's the name of the game, literally and figuratively. And then you sell the solution.
40 subs. Yeah, probably.
That's gotcha. If we didn't want to
Also, remember, Miasma Priest went from, was it 91 to 109 million HP this DA. So 2 DA rotations, Miasma Priest had 91 million HP. It went up to 109 million HP.
do that, then we would just play another game. But where does that argument come from? It comes from what the enemies provide.
Nominums. Priest, sure, my Khalida can 20k it fine, but I'm using Lighter to buff Khalida. Soldier 11 actually gets DPS wengeance. Yeah, but again, Lighter. Like, anyway.
Fight first, and you
Doesn't he have 114 million HP? I literally don't remember. I don't want to be saying something that's wrong. Wait. Enemies. No, it's 109. It is 109. And then 2 DAs ago. 2 DAs ago is when we last had Priest. Nope. Was it last DA? Oh, it was literally last DA. Yeah, it was last DA. He had 91. 91 to 109 million. Sheesh.
Implementing your resources to approach that problem, to approach that issue, to approach the puzzle and find a solution.
That's the problem. Like, I think he's thinking about it in the right way. He's like, look, you can run this team here. The problem is that with the HP going so fast, you're not going to be able to. You're going to be in a position where you have to play certain characters and teams eventually.
That should be how you approach games. That's way more objective and a lot easier to understand and follow than I want to play the way that I want to play and I can approach any of these enemies the way I want to play. That's not how it should be. Granted, yes, if you want to
I don't think he understands what I'm saying.
Let me go fight
Or I don't
Nekomata
understand what
with
he's
all
saying.
of these bosses and I should be able to clear. Technically, you can, and we've done it with Run and Bun. So if you guys are from ALG's channel, you guys should go check out our Run and Bun challenge. But we put up a $500 pot to see if Zenless Zone Zero players can beat the game with the worst units. They used Nekomata, Ben, Anton, Grace.
Look, I'm not arguing that you can't still clear endgame right now with suboptimal units, as in like non-premium units. I'm not arguing that you can't. But what I am arguing is that we are trending in an extremely dangerous direction. And when you can't clear with those F to P units, what happens?
Corin, Kaleda. We forced them to use these units. We banned the Astras. We banned the Mia.
And also, those players are cracked. And most of the player base isn't cracked. Most of the player base is just going to give the fuck up.
We banned the Yishens, and they were able to get scores of 30, 40Ks on DAs. They were able to get insane tower scores, and they were able to get 2-3 minute Shiyu clears. It's some of the worst performing units in the game. I invite you guys to go watch the Run and Bun challenge, because that's the...
I think he's saying your take is subjective, so people can take that in many ways, but he believes your statement is in line with how the game is asking you to play around it. I don't know if that's true. Oh, shit.
That's my
Hey Sol, by the way, I didn't see you there, but hi, how's it going?
Against this, you can use units that are F2P in budget to clear all this content 100% and even 110% if you
The guy can't comprehend the idea of preventing enshittification in the future. Such a good word. Yeah. And like talking about what's happening now without the context. Guys, do I need to bring the graph up again? Do I need to get the graph out?
You want to go
Do I need to get the charts? Shall I get the charts? I shall get the charts. Oh, it's so bright. Oh, it's so bright. It's in my face. It's all over my face. God damn it. All that white on my face. Anyway. It's the history, right? The context. The context is this. This is the context. In context, this is what's going on. So saying that you can still do it right now doesn't help. Because even if you can, you won't be able to clear with Soldier 11 forever.
Past 20k clears, and you don't need to spend money. All you need to do is play the game in which they set you up. Play the game the right way. It's like saying, at the end of the day, chat, and again, this goes to the extreme, endgame is less fun because it's hard to play the way I want to. It's like soccer. There are rules in soccer. What if I were to play soccer with my hands? I can't, unless I'm a goalkeeper.
Oh! Bro, I can't. What is this? Holy shit. All right, maybe it's going somewhere. Maybe it's going. Let's let him finish the analogy, okay?
Right? There are restrictions and rules in place, and you need to find ways and creative solutions around that. Run and Bun is a good example, but many people don't bother building the agent.
I think, like, but there are, what? Okay, I'm not going to use the soccer analogy. I'm British, so I would call it football. But I'm not going to use the football analogy. Yeah, but if I was going to use the football analogy, I guess what I would say is that, like, it's about thinking about a way to approach a problem that's a little bit outside of the ordinary, and it's deliberately limiting that expression. So, for example, like the basics in football for a long time was 4-4-2. 4-4-2. Everyone always plays 4-4-2. 4 at the back, 4 in midfield, and 2 up front, right? The expression that we're losing is the ability to try different things. 4-5-1, 4-3-3. You know, like like what I'm saying is that, like, that expression and that inventiveness came about in football, and it actually became like a different way to play the game. And you had to work to counter that. But I guess what I'm saying is that, like, the game is Zenless Zone Zero is forcing everyone to run a particular team archetype. It's forcing everyone to 4-4-2. It's forcing everyone to run Yishuan against the priest. Now, right now, you can still clear priest not with Yishuan. Yeah, you can. But, like, what happens when you can't? Well, every time I try gacha endgame, I give up. They're built for the sweats in every game. Kind of. Hey, did my football analogy make sense? I don't know, guys.
Well, then what the hell is the argument? If we're not building the characters the right way.
That's a really good way to go off his jank analogy. Yo, thank you. Yeah, but, like, the hand thing doesn't make sense. But yeah, like, the expression and the creativity that we could have would enable different, you know, formations. But ultimately, you're still playing football with your feet.
Not, you know, at least using the mechanics the right way. If you use mechanics the right way and you approach the bosses the right way, you...
How do you know that people won't be able to complete DA? Have you tried it? No, I haven't. I haven't tried it. You're right. You're right. But I'm being cautious. We're opening up some cautiousness here, and we're saying, hey, look, this is starting to get harder. Players are starting to struggle. Players are starting to not be able to clear, even if when they're consistently pulling units because they're not pulling the right units. And it's making the game feel less fun. Ultimately, is this a direction that we want the game to go in, where you can't clear with Soldier 11 because she just never gets a better support than Lighter?
You build the characters the right way, you can clear any content. No? Damn, bro, it's got a point. Now you guys see the whole argument of if I would have played soccer with my hands, I can't unless I follow the rules. The game is here and you need to approach the game. Not I'm here and the game plays towards me. This ain't Roblox, this ain't Minecraft. I can't do whatever I want. We used a lot of metaphors.
I'm lost in the source of that analogy, honestly.
We used a lot of examples. This argument is way...
It's like a cart rolling towards a cliff. Why are you complaining we're not dying? Yeah, but we see where the cart is going. Yeah, 100.
way too subjective. Endgame is fun if you approach it the right way. If you're not...
Also, like, you can't tell me what isn't fun. Like, that's up to me. That's up to me to decide. But it's also up to the player base to decide. And I think maybe I'm putting myself in this too much. And maybe I'm thinking I'm going to have less fun with this. But I think portions of the player base agree with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not approaching it the right way.
Is the claim that some folks are making that HP scaling is accelerating, or that just constant rate of HP inflation is approaching a point of unsustainability? I think both of those things. HP scaling is both accelerating and it could potentially become unsustainable.
Way, and you're trying to put the circle into the rectangle hole, it's not gonna fit. And just because you can't, is it less fun? No. How does that make any sense? Next argument. HP inflation is outpacing the average of characters. I have to agree with this argument because
I don't remember saying that, but cool. Yeah, I do. I think that's probably true.
the average content, or excuse me, average...
That's why the ZZ community are being concerned, like ALG said, cautious. Thank you, Resi.
Character pool is not increasing 50% with HP. This is a very much numerical issue. I can agree with ALG. HP inflation is an issue because the characters aren't pacing the same way. Anton isn't increasing his output by 50%. Or, Nekomata is not outpacing her performance by whatever 50%, yada yada.
Yeah, and it's kind of like we mentioned earlier, like, yeah, if you wanted to run that Soldier 11 team, sure, you can do it right now, but then, you're going to have to keep up with pulling specific units in order to keep Soldier 11 relevant. And what if you just don't get that unit? Or what if the units just can't do enough? I think, to be honest, even for an average player, unless it's fire weak content, even with lighter Astra, M0, no engines, I think it would be, I think it's a tough clear. It's a tough clear.
Yada yada. So understandably, from the perspective of
it's doable, but it's tough.
Deadly Assault, in regards to Deadly Assault only, because shield defense, granted they increase their HP, but it is drastically less difficult than DA. DA is the only one that's really scaled that high. DA is the one where you're feeling the HP inflation the most, because using Nekomata against Miasmic Priest 2 months ago was different than using Nekomata now because of HP inflation, and your score will be different. That I have to agree. However, we are getting newer W engines, we are getting newer sets, right? So let's say the argument of Anton. Aw, man, Anton, of course, with his W engine and his old stuff can't clear. But what if we used Seed's W engine? What if we supported him with a support that used the new Moonlight set?
It's kind of the same point I was making, but like the point is that the point still stands though, that at a certain point, Anton ain't gonna cut it. At a certain point, Soldier 11 ain't gonna cut it, especially if we keep trending in the direction that we're trending. We can bring the graph back. Do you want to bring the graph back? No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
That's 100% uptime, 18% damage increase, which is
the new
better.
fucking sit doesn't feel any difference. Yeah, it is better, but it's not a huge amount difference, right? Was it 15% for Swing Jazz? 15% for Swing Jazz for 12 seconds, and the new set is 18% for 25 seconds. It's much easier to manage the buff uptime. But I mean, if you were playing Swing Jazz well, and bearing in mind that a lot of your damage is probably going to be in the stun window anyway, a lot of the time with Swing Jazz, it kind of means that, yeah, you wouldn't see that much of a difference, because you could ult and then you could chain on user heart even on anomaly teams, which would potentially provide you with enough buff uptime that you're not really even feeling that much of a difference.
than your swing jazz.
EX special versus ultimate. Yeah, the EX special is also a lot easier to activate. I'm not going to argue. The new set is great. Everyone should be running the new set. But like, if you were running swing jazz and you were running it properly beforehand, you're probably not seeing a huge difference in score.
What if we used those better pieces? I think we could see a lot better results, or results that would somewhat align.
We're talking about casual players, though. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Like, I think large portions of a more casual player base would probably see a much bigger increase. Yeah, I agree.
With HP inflation.
Yeah, it doesn't increase it doesn't justify this kind of increase. It doesn't. Yeah, it's 3% better in terms of like the raw damage number. And you could argue that it's better than that because it has much better uptime. But again, yeah, like,
again, you would have to use quote unquote money to buy the.
If you like boobs, say so. If you like boys, then fine. Let's go. Totally fine.
That's just the progression of the game. So you have to pull new W engines. Not gonna levy. This goes to the Saint Tontas argument. Let's bring in the Saint Tontas argument.
Okay.
I can't use my 1.0 and 1 point characters to beat Miasma. I can't use my Jane Does. I can't use my Ju Yens and Ellen Joes to beat Miasma. You can't. But you haven't increased your skill.
I think the Miasma argument was always flawed, which is why I didn't really get involved at that time. But yeah, like, Miasma, the more you understand the way the Miasma works, the easier it is. Thank you for the 25 PLN. I miss my commissions because at this point only DA and Shield defense is a place where I can use my agents. Yeah, kind of true. Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. There's not really that much to do. Yeah, this isn't even about Miasma. Yeah, we're talking about the endgame bosses, I guess, and the endgame bosses have Miasma. But anyway, he's saying skill issue. Let's talk about it.
So you have to pull new W engines. Not gonna levy. This goes to the Saint Tontas argument. Let's bring in the Saint Tontas.
Back in the day, you were not punished to this extent if you did not use shield units. You were rewarded if you did, but if you used other teams, it was a pretty normal experience. Exactly, Razor. Yeah, like it feels like, yeah, and I've said this a couple of times, and I think I've heard you say it before as well. Like, the game doesn't reward you for pulling the new unit. It punishes you for not pulling the new unit. So it's like it's cracking the whip instead of dangling the carrot. Are people forgetting that Bringer existed? No, but they can't bring Bringer back, because if they bumped up his HP to the same level as they're bumping up the HP on everything else, yeah, we'd be cooked.
Argument. I can't use my 1.0 and 1 point characters to beat Miasma. I can't use my Jane Does. I can't use my Ju Yens and Ellen Joes to beat Miasma. You can't, but you haven't increased your skill.
Skill issue.
And you haven't increased your builds relative to the progression of the game. So you're still using Anton's, a drill bit from 1.0 and expecting to clear harder content. Granted, the argument is that the content did get harder in respects to DA from 1.4 or whatever it was introduced to now 2.3. It is.
I think he's saying that you should be using other stuff on Anton, I guess. But like, you can make that argument for like pulling limited S rank engines, I guess. But I don't really get it.
Is harder. Just the sheer fact of when DA was introduced till now, DA has gotten harder. That is true.
I can only farm so many discs a day, dude. I believe in you.
Essence of DA. What was the true purpose of DA? Was it for you to use any character that you want? And you look historically with Hoyoverse games, just Hoyoverse games in general, these types of game modes, you aren't supposed to use, or you aren't supposed to be able to use every single character with the grain. That's why it's hard for me.
Like, I get it, I guess, right? Like the bosses are built for particular agents, but there should be more ability to flex, because as the HP continues to go up on the anomaly boss and the rupture boss and the attack boss and the anti-anomaly boss, it's going to get harder and harder to force teams.
Me, I pulled Seed's engine from my Anton. I look at a Sig.
My current still clears, so I'm fine. Yeah, but for how much longer, Name Red? Yeah, and do we want ZZZ to be like the other Hoyo games, which have unanimously agreed shit endgames.
Sorry, but it can't clear. DA is supposed to be the harder endgame content. If you have Anton with W engine, can you at least get 6 stars? Right, because Anton's not the only character that you have to use. Can you use Anton on one of the teams and use your other characters on another team to get 6 stars? Probably can't. If the argument is, oh, but I literally have no characters, then how are you?
I don't know, man. Is Anton getting 2 stars now? Is Anton still getting 2 stars? It's cool that we isn't supposed to use all of them and all, but are we just going to accept that though? Yeah, apparently, yeah. So I guess in 2.1, if you pulled Miyabi, you could use her on Fiend. But yeah, you're just cooked on these other bosses. And then if Fiend wasn't here, what happens then? Ay.
Supposed to do it in the first place, right? I pulled for quarters German
play
for
Anton.
Julian and
07.
25k the priest with Julian Ching Cole, but the score isn't too high. But Claudio.
But I use him with Seed. Wow, that's based. That's just extending the life of your unit.
Doesn't matter. You cleared it. And you did amazing. 25k? Honestly, great. Do not get it twisted by the amount of media, by the amount of quote-unquote external pressure by the community to say that, oh, these are average scores. 50k, 40k, 40k here. This is 0.82% of players. That is not.
Did you know that actually clearing at 9 stars is only around 30% of players? I have a hang on, let me just go big 2 seconds. I'm gonna get a no, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I know. I just know. But I had a clear that I did for someone where we went them from 5 to 9 stars. I'm meant to be editing it right now, and I'm not. But yeah. At 27%. And we got him to 64k, 27%. So around 30% of players are the only players that are getting 9 stars. Went from 50 to 30. Should we check my poll that I put up earlier? Because this is concerning. Hang on. If you haven't voted, it's on my channel. Go and vote. 800 votes. I only put it up a couple of hours ago. I know Ketty asked a similar question yesterday, but I'd like to know some specific info about your DA scores. How did they change between the last DA and this DA? 78% of the players who have responded to this, they dropped by 5% or more. Over 50, 54? No, wait. Sorry. Is that 64? 64%? Bro, my brain just stopped working. Yeah, but 64% dropped by more than 10%. Bruh. That's a lot. My score dropped and my rank improved? Yeah, it's because most people are dropping score.
On average, my scores here are nowhere near average. This is 0.82% of the player base. People want.
Majority players are low spenders FTP. How can they relate to a whale that has every character? It's literally a privilege take. Yeah. Exactly. How does the DA score drop matter? Well, because if someone is barely clearing last DA, like, you know, like let's say 40k, so they're just getting the 6 stars, what happens when their score drops by somewhere between 10 and 20%? Well, then they're getting 5 stars or 4 stars. And then they feel like, oh, this game's kind of shit. And then we lose players.
To do endgame immediately with no investment. That's exactly it. And then now we just turn to Raid Shadow Legends. This is a live service growing.
40 to 50k was easy last DA, but not now. Yeah, I know. Sorry, anyway, I'm missing what Josh is saying.
Average. This is 0.82% of the player base.
This is literally what happened to HSR. Yeah. I'm hearing that HSR is healing now. I don't know that much about it, but I am hearing that HSR is healing now. I am also just like super conscious that, like, if we look at the context of Hoyoverse and their other games, and I think a lot of people probably have a lot more knowledge than I do on this, but I just don't want it to go down that road, like where we just hear, the endgame shit, the endgame shit, the endgame shit. When we introduced DA, when DA got introduced in 1.4, everyone was like, this endgame mode is so fucking fun. And honestly, it stayed that way until 1.6, maybe 1.7. And, you know, it's starting to feel less and less fun.
base. People want to do endgame immediately with no investment.
And
That's
hey, that's just my opinion. It is still fun. You're right, though. It is still fun. I feel like I'm just having less fun with it. Can you decide if you want a discussion with the comments or a discussion about the video? Honestly, no.
exactly it. And then now we just turn to Raid Shadow Legends. This is a live service growing action RPG game. The characters are going to get more restrictive. The characters are going to get more difficult. Yet, they are giving us resources to tackle that. Newer characters, newer W engines, newer drive disk sets. They are giving us ways to build on our accounts to be able to approach these problems. The game is gaming. The game is gaming steadfast. So HP inflation, I have to agree, it is outpacing the average of characters. But is that really an issue? Because we're going to get more new characters. We're going to get Monato pretty soon, who is probably free. We're probably going to get a free W engine. That's probably pretty good. Like,
yeah, I know, but like, if you just keep pulling the new characters, what happens to the old characters? Just get more characters. Yeah, what if you don't want the characters? Yeah, that's the problem, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, and what if you want to clear with Soldier 11? You love Soldier 11. Let's keep clearing with Soldier 11. And what happens when HP reaches a point where you just straight can't? Skill issue, I guess. So is his argument that we should only rely on their Good Samaritan nature? Yep. But also that you should just pull the new character. I think in a way, I do get it, but I think longer term, you have to think about the impact that has, right? If you just keep pulling new character, pulling new character, pulling new character, pulling new character, then what happens to the characters you pulled like 3 patches ago? Are they giving us new discs? Because I've been farming for Orphe like 2 weeks and I haven't seen decent discs. Thank you for the $5, Eggies. Yeah, we don't want a must pull. We want a I want to pull. Yeah, exactly. I think the game would be so much better if we had an almost flat power level. I know it needs to increase a little bit. Like, it needs to increase a little bit, and that's fine. I get it. I understand. But I think they should just sell us the characters on their combat mechanics and their designs, as opposed to selling us on power. Because it feels like they're trying to push the player base in the direction of you have to pull. And to be clear, I don't think people have to pull right now. Like, Seed is not a must-pull character. But with the rate of HP inflation and how shilly the endgame is being, like, it's not a huge leap to think that we're going to end up there. It's the cart going towards the cliff. It's time to say, whoa, maybe we should do something before we go off this cliff.
like, the Marcados. For now,
You're saying we should just become a full waifu movie game instead of an action game? Well, not really. We know they can make good characters. The game could very easily live on a much more steady power level. The idea that ZZ needs to push the power ceiling in order to keep us invested is just wrong. I agree. I completely agree. And to be honest, it might be that the Western audience is not who they're targeting with this game, and they are targeting more of the Asian audience, and maybe they care more about power. I don't know.
characters. But is that really an issue? Because we're going to get more new characters. We're going to get Monato pretty soon, who is probably free. We're probably going to
To be fair, like, Monato probably will be free.
get a free W engine. That's probably pretty good, like, the Marcados. For now, the game is just getting more difficult because the game is growing. I would hate to see my game
No, I don't think it is, though. I think it's stagnating. Anyway.
move backwards, because that's not what you want, Chad, is it? And I don't think that's what ALG wants. He's trying to defend
My friend all Asians have quit. The Western audience is never the target. I know.
those who are
Capita
FTP
Big
budgets,
Satongo, thank you for the
who are
follow.
using the Antons to try to clear, Defiler, who are trying to use the Nekomatas to clear Miasma. Sorry to say, those characters can clear Miasma. That's what the run and bun proved.
I mean, the run and bun might have proved that at 91 million HP, but 109 million, it's going to be tougher, bro. And and most of the player base isn't going to be able to do that.
Necromata can clear Miasma Priest. Corrin can clear Miasma Priest, you know? Piper can clear Miasma Fiend. Grace? Okay, great.
If you look at the graph, you notice after every big spike of HP inflation, it's followed by a big drop. So in reality, the inflation isn't as bad as it looks. You need to look at the low point average rather than the big spikes. That is a fair point, Chino. That is a fair point. It does tend to do that. It does. Like, I will just bring it back. Yeah, he's not wrong. Like, normally when there are big spikes like this one, it does go down. Big spike here goes down. So in theory, we're due it down. We can actually look at next year. We could look. We could look. Maybe later.
Gray's kind of shitty. I do admit, Gray's got shafted. But Defiler, a lot of characters can clear Defiler, more than you think. And I even tested out the Yanagi team. The Yanagi team clears Defiler. I know.
Is that on Josh's own account? Because I know he has at least M2 Yuzuha. So I don't know that that's... Look, Yanagi can still clear it. I've cleared it with Yanagi. I cleared it with my M0 Yanagi without her engine. I didn't rely on Anomaly, though. I just put her in the wheelchair. And it was fucking close. So when the HP goes up, I don't know if I can do it. Depends on the buffs, maybe.
It sounds, you know, very anti-player when I say it. And it sounds like I'm trying to defend Zenless, but I'm not.
Your main point is valid, but you don't express it clearly to the point of letting the clown use it as doom posting the game you love. Yeah, I think the thing is that let me just clearly state what's going on again. We are concerned about HP inflation. We're concerned that the endgame shills and the shill buffs are... Wait, I say we. I mean I. Sorry, when I say we, I mean I. My bad. I am concerned about HP inflation. I'm concerned that the shill buffs in Zenless Zone Zero are trending in a negative direction, which is going to mean that the player base has less fun with the game. Or more specifically, I have less fun with the game. And I'm expressing that concern. People can agree or disagree with that. Agents and engines are still at level 60. We stagnating. Bill, thank you for the 50, whatever that is.
Because, again, I have to agree, I don't like HP inflation. I don't like the rate at which the bosses are increasing. But do I like...
Flosson said he's going to make a response video to your video. What have you started? I think the thing is as well is that, like, I think I can explain it a lot clearer, and we can use, like, key touch points, and we can use, like, player information and data to make a clearer point. The whole point of my video, though, was to try and just state it as simply as possible so that everyone can understand. But I don't think Josh understands what I'm saying.
Like the structure of the Defiler, there are some really good parts. There's some really bad parts. I do not like 3 invincibility frames, but I think the 3 ways, the 3 stages in which you interact with Defiler, I think is extremely interesting. I think it's extremely interesting.
It is. It's got way too much downtime, though.
Defiler, Unfathomable Miasmic Fiend, and Miasmic Priest. These are some of the most creative enemies we've gotten in the game. I think the concern is that weaker units won't be able to clear as HP goes.
So if he agrees that HP inflation should be slower, there's no arguing needed. Just say it in the survey. Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah. Hang on, let's go back. I need to watch
the 3 stages in which you interact with Defiler, I think is extremely interesting. I
think it's a fun fight, except for the shield bearer. I think it's a really fun fight.
I think it's extremely interesting, the Defiler, Unfathomable Miasmic Fiend, and Miasmic Priest. These are some of the most creative enemies we've gotten in the game. I think the concern is that weaker units won't be able to clear as HP goes up. 69-bit. That's the argument that the run and bun challenge disproves.
How? How did that disprove it? I'm confused. I'm so confused. How did a challenge that was run during like this period or this period, I can't remember when it was exactly run, how did the challenge that was run during this period disprove the fact that it's going to get harder. I don't understand. I don't understand.
The F2P squads. I have to agree.
Conscience should be accessible, meaning that they should be able to play the mode at least, regardless of clear result. What does that mean? High HP going up and bosses having more downtime in the fight also adds up. Also true. Also true. Yeah.
I think a good baseline is that
Bro, he's over here
content
now.
should be accessible to all F2Ps, meaning that I don't need to reach a certain level to be able to attempt something. Does that make sense? Let's say
No.
in other games, let's say Stygian Onslaught in Genshin. I need to
Oh, bro,
finish
did I take
level
it back?
5 in
Oh,
a character
fuck.
with the grain. That's why it's hard for me. I pulled Seeds Engine from my Anton.
Oh, fuck. Where did we go? We were towards the end, right?
Because the game is growing. I would hate to see my game move backwards.
Oh, we
'cause
got
that's
here.
not
We got here. Fuck. Does someone remember the time? Shit. Oh, he's saying.
challenge disproves.
All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back.
Into ult and second ult Nekomata. Corins comes out too. That's Guzzlord. The Miasma Guzzlord. We're using Corin, Nekomata, and Nicole. The run and bun will be impossible if HP continues to go up in the next
Thank you, Josh's chat. Thank you, Josh's chat. Good job, Josh's chat. Good job, guys. Solid work.
6 months. I disagree. Because with HP going up, the resources have to go up. Jester.
So then you just don't play Corrin. You just pull the new physical DPS. Easy clap.
It's like you guys are saying that we're stagnating and the HP and the bosses are going higher and higher and higher. That's exactly the same Tone Toss argument. Well, bro, why can I use my 1.0 builds, my 1.1 builds to clear the Miasma Priest? What is this?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You guys are using the same Tone Toss argument. I don't think you guys would agree with, but now you guys are like, oh, that's why I disagree with saying Tone Toss. But you guys are using that same argument, right? You guys are forgetting that you guys are building on your characters. You're building on your pool of characters. You're building on your resources, your W engines, your artifacts, your drive discs. You forget.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. I don't know. I don't know how Corrin killing the Guzzlord like 2 Shiyus ago prevents HP inflation. I don't get it.
That you're growing too.
And the answer is you just pull more.
It's not just the HP inflation, you're inflating. You're growing stronger. If you guys
I'm gonna inflate in a minute.
are
Let's get inflated. Get inflated.
doing the game right, if you guys are doing the game justice, if you guys are growing with the game, that's the point of live service action RPG.
I'm gonna get inflated for Idari. That's what I'm gonna do.
Again, I think you could beat the game with the worst characters, but they need good discs and good substats, which you can't control. You can control Yozuro because there are systems in place for you to recycle and to continuously build off the stuff that you have. And you can get the main stats. And as long as you have main stats, right,
I mean, it's,
you can clear. I think
it's
you
true.
can agree with that sentiment. You can get drive discs.
Pull better, skill issue. Devs are giving you so much. Yeah, it's always those things.
Proper. Use the tuning mechanic. Use the bardic needle. Yes, you may not get the drive disc that you want immediately, but you'll get it. Not the substats. You don't necessarily need substats always. Does
You fucking do for Corrin, bro. Come on. Come on. Corrin. You want to clear with Corrin, you gotta have some substats. Come on. Be real. Be real.
one roll of substat prevent you from going from 2-star to 3-star? No. Because if that was the defining argument, then I would have to agree with you. If one substat roll changed the entirety of how a character played, one substat roll, I mean, one singular substat roll changed the entirety of how a character is played and the team and your overall production of how you performed in DA across all 3 stages, then I would have to agree with you.
Bro, what? Just, I don't. I think I think he's doing the thing where he's like reducing it to like its base level and being like, well, if we just take 1 substat roll, then that wouldn't make any difference. But normally for endgame builds, you're talking about 30 plus substat rolls.
But it doesn't. 1 substat roll won't kill you. 1 bad artifact won't kill you. A bad set won't kill you. Because if you can support your characters properly, if you can create the team that goes against the stage proper, you should be able to clear. And then the last arguments, chat. Boss designs, you have to run certain teams.
I think he's missing the point that it's like, but like, if it keeps going, you won't be able to. I don't know, man.
For certain bosses, type 1 if you agree with that. Type 2 if you don't. I just agree or disagree for now. We'll go into the argument later.
Wait, what is it?
Agree with that. Type designs, you have to run certain teams for certain bosses. Type 1 if you agree with that.
Okay, and in the video, I did say that. I think, given some time to think about it, what I mean to say, and this is maybe my fault, the video should have been clearer, I'm sorry, but the video should have said, you will have to run certain teams for certain characters.
Type 2 if you don't. I just agree or disagree for now. We'll go into the argument later. Just say if you agree or disagree. Just take the statement as is. You have to run certain teams for certain bosses. Okay, and YouTube also agrees. It's 2. I can think of like 2 holistically different constructed teams for each of these bosses.
Yeah.
DA. I can think.
Yeah, but yeah, I get that, but like we have to think about the direction though. Like if the direction of the Defiler is that the HP continues to increase, then you won't. Sure, yeah, you can think of like 4 different attack teams that can clear the boss, but you won't be able to force something that isn't an attack team on the boss.
Think of 2 to 3 holistically different constructions for these teams and variations on those teams. So let's start with Defiler, right? One of the cores would be Seed. I can go Haramasa Seed. I could go Anton Seed. I could go.
Oh yeah, like hey, yeah, you knew the hey guys, do you know the new boss? Hey guys, do you know the new boss that's built for Seed? Yeah, I could go with Haramasa and Seed. I could go with Anton and Seed. Honestly, I understand his point. He's making it very badly.
Juyen Seed. I can use Soldier. I can use Soldier, Trigger, and Astra Yao as the premium squad.
Okay.
I can use Soldier, Trigger, Caesar as a squad. I can use Soldier, Pokra. I can use Nicole.
Yeah, to be honest, I paused it too soon. Yeah, he is actually going to other teams. He shouldn't have started with Seed though, you have to admit.
And Astra Yao Crutch. With the Ether Crutch, I can use any character. Eve, beautiful Evelyn. You can use
Evelyn, that's
my
my girl.
Lighter Astra.
Neuron activation.
Evelyn, Lighter Lucy. You can use Yanagi. I have used the Yanagi Mono Electric team. You can clear. Can I?
Some people don't have access to all these limited S ranks. Yep, also true. Getting 3 stars with Sambi Astra Trigger team isn't that easy. Is it not? I mean, I know Sambi sucks, but like, I didn't think it was that bad.
Use Nekomata?
Yeah, I think the boss is kind of designed around being used with a character like Sambi, so I think it's probably okay. Hey Jack, how's it going, man?
With Trigger? Probably. Can I use Nekomata and...
Isn't Yanagi terrible with Defiler? Yeah, she's pretty bad. It's doable right now. It's doable today. It's doable right now. But it's not going to be doable forever. Hey. Probably. I should clarify my statements more. Because, yeah, that could get taken out of context. Look, if you're trying to run Yanagi, like a Yanagi team, you will probably still be able to clear Defiler today. You'll probably still be able to clear Defiler with the next HP buff. But then after that, with the anti-anomaly shell on it as well, guy, can we not just admit that that's going to be fucking hard? You had me right up to the Sambi Sander? I know. I'm so sorry.
Probably. And that's only one of the sides. I could go on and on and on about these two. Oh, Josh, but then what's the argument about the F2Ps? And we already answered that argument. If you build them properly, if you have the
just build Corrin. Easy.
right construction, the right approach to the boss, and you know how to play the boss, boom, that's fine. You shouldn't be judging a game on if it gets harder because you want your game to get harder. Why would you want your game to get easier? That's bad progression. That's bad.
Yeah, no one's saying the game needs to get easier.
Game construction and bad game progression. Does that make sense, Chad? Why would you want your game to get easier, especially with a live service game that grows every 3 weeks? Yes.
It doesn't, though. It's bleeding players.
And they also have to sell new characters. And you could approach
Probably. I guess. I don't know. Even if you build them properly, they aren't going to clear forever if HP keeps inflating. Bucko? Exactly. I managed to file using Astra, Sambi, and Nicole. Worked fine right now. And of course, new boss, so I don't know all the mechanics yet. Yeah. Like, Sambi should still be fine there. Yeah, you do want it to get harder, but 20 to 30% harder in 2 weeks is not good. Yeah, it's huge. Are we talking about only Defiler and not Miasma Fiend? No, I mean, I feel like he's focusing on Defiler quite a lot. I feel like in my video, I used Defiler as the example, but you can use Fiend as the example because, I mean, it's a very anomaly-focused boss.
from the business perspective, sure. And, you know, it's a very, you know, easy argument to be like, you know, to be anti-game development. You'd be like, oh, of course, you just want to sell your characters, you want to sell your DLC, blah, 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 blah. But what Hoyoverse has been extremely solid in, with the exception of, like, let's say HSR right now. HSR is not an...
It's let's say HSR and Genshin and Honkai Impact. You know, just add them up, basically. All of those. You know, all of the games.
very good spot. They got to find a way out of the hole. What they've been very good at is managing the progression of the game in its lifespans of the microcosms of, you know, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, a month, and even 2 years. As live service games. A game is a game because there's a challenge. If you don't want a challenge, you don't want a game. Beautifully said, Cat. Then you just want to collect trophies. And at that point, you're not playing the game for endgame. Now it all comes together. You should not be basing your entertainment on the game based on results-based analysis.
I think I'm just like trying to catch up with that. Shouldn't be basing your entertainment on results-based analysis. So, like, if your score goes down, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're having less fun. Is that what he's saying? That's what I think. But yeah, also, my entertainment is my concern, bitch, is almost exactly the way I feel. Yeah, like, if the way I want to have fun is I want to chase high scores, that's okay. If the way I want to have fun is I want to chase high scores with Corrin, that's also okay. There's a guy who's built a whole channel out of that. And that's cool. Sorry, he's over here again now. My score went down. It's directly resulting in me having less fun. Yeah, and I think large portions of the player base would agree with you. And honestly, maybe it's a mindset diff, right? Maybe you can just reset your brain and be like, hey, you know what? This game isn't important. And then you go and you take a break, and maybe you don't play for a few days. But then every single day that you don't play, it gets easier and easier to just not play the game. And then you know what happens? Those players just don't come back. And that's fine. Like, and if content creators are going to sit here and say, hey, the way that you should have fun is not caring about your score. Like, that's just...
KA, whether you get 2 or 3 stars, whether you get 30, 40K, that should not be the purest enjoyment of the game. Your enjoyment of the game should be using the characters, putting them in interesting teams, and then approaching the content.
I don't know, man. Like, I might just I might just stop listening at this point. I don't.
And seeing how you do. Again, results-based analysis should not be the basis on how you subjectively conclude your enjoyment of the game. Probably.
So the score exists for what reason? Yeah, there shouldn't be a score on it. If there's no fun tied to the score, there shouldn't be a score.
I understand that might sound cold and calculated, but that's the whole argument on HP inflation. Because if you're just talking about, oh, the game is less fun because it's less creative. No, the game is as creative as it's ever been. Because now we get to use double attack comps. Or it is incentivized to use double attack comps, double anomaly comps, double support comps, double stun comps. The game is as creative as it's ever been from a player.
Yeah, they are incentivizing different things. Like, that is definitely true. They're incentivizing the player base to try different things. But the problem becomes is that when that incentive becomes less of an incentive and more of a need, you know? When it reaches a point where you just straight can't do it anymore with the unincentivized units. Go ahead, play Hugo.
And that's where that fun, that subjective fun, the realm it should stay in. Of course, you can still have fun tackling the content, right? But again, like I said, do not base your fun or your desire to play the game because last time you got 40k and this time you only got 33k. Results-based analysis kills that fun for you, or kills the subjective relative feeling for you. Yes, you
My feeling, though, that's up to me.
Can be creative by using Nekomata on every squad, but you just have to approach it the right way. You can't put the circle piece into the rectangle hole and then say it didn't fit, I'm not having fun. That's not it. And then steeper learning curve, we talked about this. I would love my game to grow and not get easier. Like, I would love it to have more different unique mechanics that I have to learn to approach the game. If I wasn't learning...
The problem with that argument, though, is that, like, what happens when someone new comes in today? What happens when someone new comes in? Someone new starts in 2.0? They got to learn everything from, like, all of the old stuff and then all of the new stuff too? And then they start the end game and it absolutely kicks their ass? I was very upset when my Fiend score went down. I thought I regressed, but then I went and calculated my direct damage numbers and realized that 2k points was actually 4 million damage increase. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And growing with the game, what are we doing? And as the game progresses, it gets harder.
Feels like everyone isn't fully hearing each other out. Yeah, I feel it.
For the characters?
I feel it.
Yes, it's a live service game. If you didn't want live service, just play Smash Bros. It has all the characters for you, as an example. And then normalizing higher premium investment teams, I low-key have to agree with this one. Because unfortunately, the progression of the character pool being released is very much catered towards the premium teams. AKA the teams that you would have to use currency for, premium currency for.
Yeah, that's going to happen. So he agrees with the idea that, like, yeah, the HP is going to keep going up, and therefore we're going to need more limited S ranks per team. Yeah.
I have to agree with this statement. But the game supplements you with enough such that you can at least get one or two of these, you know, characters and use them with the characters that you've already built to create a new permutation, to create a new combination to tackle the content in the game. Hopefully, you know, maybe you still might agree with ALG, and to some extent, I definitely still agree with ALG in some aspects, right? There's some less fun aspects now that I found more fun before, but that doesn't cloud my judgment on how the game is developing and how I'm developing as a player, right? Because again, the last argument is that if you're not developing as a character and you're seeing the developments in the game and you're just like, man, it's getting harder and harder and harder, but you're not increasing your skill, you're not increasing your character's abilities, then what the fuck?
Yeah, but the thing is that it's like, it's not that it's getting harder. It's that they're artificially making it harder by putting the HP up. There was a comment a moment ago that I read out where someone said that their score was higher, as in, like, their score was 2k lower, but they were doing 4 million more damage. Like, that's just being de-incentivized to just even play the fucking thing.
fuck are you doing?
I think people are missing the point by a video. Not here to agree or disagree. I just see the point. Saint Hunters, thank you for the 5 gifted. I made the assumption that you were not here anymore. Hi, how's it going? Good luck 1v9ing, brother. Yeah, I'm going to change the stream title. Thanks for the support.
I think leaderboards, esport mentality wrecks some of the fun factor for things though. But that's not due to Zenless. Is it? No. Zenless didn't force that upon you. There's no leaderboards that you have to follow. You don't need to compare yourself.
Holly, I'd immediately switch to Smash if it had Zenless combat with new tits and ass characters getting added to it constantly. Let's fucking go! Holly, my goat. Honestly, guys, I don't know. Like, what's going? I don't really feel like this is going anywhere now. I'm gonna stop it. Dazine Tetch is my master. Thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. I feel like other CCs want to get on a call. I feel like I'm down for it. I'm going to change my stream title to 1v5ing ZZZ elitists. And let's see what fucking happens, all right? Give me 2 secs. I need to go to the loo. So I'm going to put some music on for a sec. I'm just going to pop to the loo. I'm going to message about getting on call. All right, just before I go, though, hear me out. Guys, normally when it comes to these kind of calls, I am an introvert. I let other people talk. I am pretty quiet and reserved. I feel really conscious about talking over other people because I let them get their point in. But I will not be like that this call. BRB. Lost, thank you for the sub. Right, music's on. I'm DMing Josh. BRB. ZZZ Civil War arc. Oh, Jamie sent me a message. Mod Jamie, you're the fucking goat, man. I love you. I actually don't know if it's gonna happen. Josh hasn't responded. Where's the call happening? I don't know. You're letting St. Tontis use you for misinformation? I don't think that's true. Him and EO be talking? I guess I'm not invited. Shall I call Josh and then we can just call EO in? I don't mind. He says give me like 5 minutes. Okay. He wants 5 minutes. I'm gonna boot up the game, boys. Fuck. Razor asked me if I want backup. Razor, I appreciate it, but then my stream title can't be 1v5 ZZZ Elitist. I just don't want you to get 2v1, bro. I know. The thing is as well, I don't necessarily want it to come off too Duma. We need to talk at the same level. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be such a fucking dick. And I know it. I haven't done Shiyu yet. And what we're here for. Oh. When are you gonna stream New ZZ Story? It was meant to be this weekend. But then I was gonna take a break because, you know. Was this fire? Was it electric? Resistant? I don't remember. Can you try Yannicky on Defiler? I can, but the only way I'm clearing it is in the wheelchair. What was the second side? Fire then electric? Oh, we'll just force each one on. At least the real ones will stay. Yeah. EU and Josh are dodging it? Ah. Okay. I think they need to collect. I can't even take this seriously. Come on, are we calling or what? What's happening? I can't do it. He's calling right now? Oh, okay.
Wait, yo, King. You and I are grabbing water real quick, and we'll be right back.
Oh yeah, of course, man. No worries.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah, nice. Entertain chat for us, ALG.
Should we call Kete into the call?
If you want to bring him now, that's fine. I was gonna talk to us between us first, and then we bring him in. If you want to bring him in now, I don't mind.
We can bring him in.
Yeah, bring him in.
Is my thing on? Crab chase Stern. Mr. Stern! Hang on. Hello.
I have arrived. What's up?
How's it going, man? How are you?
I'm good, brother. How about you, man?
Yeah, I feel like that react kept going more and more off the rails, if I'm totally honest.
I got you.
Eyes back.
I think, to be honest, I think maybe I missed the point of what Josh was trying to say. Like, just to be completely honest and open about that.
And here's the thing, you pointed me out, right? Like I missed a lot of some of the conclusions that you were going to make, right?
Okay, sure.
Because I was trying to like push some other things, right? 100%. All right, before we begin, a lot of y'all in chat, and I'm closing chat for this one because I don't want to reach out because I want to pay attention to my boys here.
Chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll shut my chat.
I just want to say, chat, like, you know, from all the fun war and drama stuff, we have a lot of love for each other. All right. And, you know, throughout the fun arguments and content that this may be, just understand that the reason why we're coming here and now in this point is, you know, to kind of work these issues out together. You know what I mean?
Okay, so when we're talking about issues, though, what are we talking about?
Let's talk about some of the points that you were brought about, like the HP inflation, stuff like that. We'll get into that a little bit. And to be honest, I, at the end of the day, didn't want to necessarily tackle everything together here right and now, just because a lot of, you know, we did go off the rails a lot, even with my video and then your reaction just now. Like, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, way too much. So I think, like, we reconvene a little bit later when things are a little bit more fleshed out. But
sorry, guys, I can't get the call thing to work. It's not working.
And this is a message to my chat, and, you know, hopefully you guys echo this too. I don't want you guys weaponizing a lot of the stuff that we're saying to attack the other creator. Because I noticed a little of that happening in my chat. I'm sure that was happening in other people's chats too, right?
Yeah, yeah, by all means, guys, like, you know, you can criticize someone's take, but don't criticize the person.
Yeah. But, I don't know where you guys want to start.
Well, I guess we could start with, like, if we were looking at it from that perspective. And that way maybe Kate and I could try and share being a mediator, even though I know we're involved in this as well. But still, I guess we could start with, like, ALG if you want. I guess with what you've had to think about so far, the talks you've had with your chat and with yourself and anyone else, what exactly is your current issue with the game as far as, like, in-game goes? And I do want to stress in-game. So to define what that is, in-game is supposed to be like creme de la creme. Like, this is top of the top. This is where the hardcore, sweaty, the player that wants to challenge themselves, that is what in-game represents.
Sorry, what was the question?
What's your issue with in-game?
Okay, yeah. I think that we're trending in a tough direction right now. Because if we look at the history of HP inflation, and we look at the way that the bosses are currently designed, and how, for lack of a better word, shilly those bosses are, we are trending in a direction that means there's going to be less player creativity, expression, and freedom. And for me, less fun. And then when I say that as if I'm talking only for myself.
Okay.
100% fair.
So let's break that down for you. And this isn't, I don't want to.
What do you mean break it down? Do you mean I'm wrong?
You are.
No, just to be clear.
No. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
come on then.
Yeah. Like, let's break down why you feel that way for, like.
What do you mean why I feel that? Are you going to tell me why I feel that way? What do you mean?
No, I'm asking you to break it down so that everyone else understands. Me, Kate, Josh, anything like that.
I don't know. I already do understand. It's no secret that me and ALG we're literally like best friends. Like, we do a lot of stuff off stream that is not just gotcha. We actually play other games. We actually we watch shows together. Like me and him are actually best friends. Like me and him have been talking about this for a while. Actually, I'm the one who told him to stop suppressing your feelings and let your community know how you feel. So I already know exactly how ALG feels and how he thinks and everything. We've been talking about this for a while.
Well, then, I mean, if you want to explain it like that way we can relate more. Because I don't know anything that no one says. Like, if you don't explain it, I'll never know it, right? If I told you I hate pineapples, you asked me why, and I just told you because I hate pineapple. That doesn't really help you.
And then also, like, granted, I was watching a good portion of that stuff, so I was able to, like, at least me personally, I was able to absorb some of it. But I think, you know, especially since a lot of folk either just watched your 5-minute video or watch a section of my video or potentially just watch a section of my video through your chat, I think some of the stuff is a little bit lost through it all. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see. Like, it's just, I don't think we need to break it down, right? It's very simple, man. ALG just he wants to be pro-consumer, right? He cares about the free-to-play and low spender audience. There's a reason why his iconic opening is, "This video is not for whales or dolphins." He is also admittedly opened to his community that he is not a sweaty player. So he represents the average player. That's why Average Look Gamer is his name, and that's why it fits his channel so well, right? He cares about the free-to-play and low-spend players. It's that simple. And he feels like it's going in a direction where it might be difficult for free-to-play and low-spend players to keep up in the future. Obviously, we only know how many DA patches do we know in advance from Hakushin? Like 2 or 3, I can't remember. But we are able to see in the future. We can't see the far future, but we're able to see 2 or 3 in advance. And it's really that simple. I don't know why we got to break it down.
If I can answer that, I think the reason why I was asking personally, like, to get more context, was because if we're talking about the average player, which I'm not saying that ALG isn't an average player, like that he's a sweater or anything like that, but if we're talking about this based off the numbers, ALG is well above an average player, even if he doesn't spend a lot of money. The average player can't get past like 23, maybe 27K, and ALG smokes that score every single time. He even gets other people to smoke that score. So that's not average. And while I understand that he represents that, what ends up happening, which is what we've all seen from everyone's chats, is that the community or other types of players who can't actually get that 30K, 40K, 50K, they use ALG's words, anyone's words, really, any creator. They use these words as confirmation bias. Like, they use it for their own reasoning. So when ALG says, like, this is for him, I completely understand that. And so from that perspective alone, I'm right there with you. I get it. But now it's like, Kate, you told them, share it with your audience, and they took it and ran with it. So it's no longer just, this is only how ALG feels. They're using this as for, like, this is how we all feel. We all are in the same boat, but they're not in the same boat. ALG is up here with us, score-wise.
Yeah,
performance-wise, you know?
I feel like I can understand what you're saying there, Rio, but, like, I guess, so what is being taken out of context from what I'm saying? Also, I just want to say, initially, I came on this call and I came in hot. I thought it was going to be a little bit more hot. I'm not going to lie. But we're having a very chill, balanced discussion.
No,
You thought we were attacking you, right?
bro.
Josh, I told you.
Yeah. No, bro. Like, that's why I wanted to open and why I say, like, dude, like,
okay, yeah,
I
get it. But so
Yeah.
I'm chilling. I'm big chilling. But yeah, I guess the follow-up question to EO is then, so what's been misinterpreted from what I've said, from what you're seeing, like my community running with that?
I think the initial thing, whenever I heard it from the stream, right, I told you I have to go, like, rewatch it, and then from the video, the follow-up video that you made, it doesn't really, I guess the representation isn't just you, it's the representation more like what Kate said, which is like representing the average player. But the data that we have, even if we're not looking 3-4 patches down the line with Hakush, the data that we have still shows that the average player can clear. The average clear score is like 23 to 27K. And like
okay,
that's the data that we have. Like I can't go off any data that we don't have.
But why
You
does
know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
right. That
go on, Kate. Yeah, you go.
I no, ALG brother, I got you. Okay?
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say.
I got you, homie. I got you. So, EO, can we get that's not the point. The point
That's
was
why
never.
I asked you earlier, and you told me
The
like it's
point
super
was-
simple, but it's not.
It
If
is
it's simple,
because if
then
you,
tell it to me in a simple way.
If it is though, because AOG said that, right? He said he's not saying that we can't clear now, just like you said. It's showing that everybody can clear right now.
Mhm.
He said that, bro. He said that it's not that they can't clear now. It's being cautious for the future. He said that multiple times.
But that
So
was
it is
something that we
simple.
also reiterated before, all of us, right? Like before.
I think at the end of the day,
we're
I
all under
I
that
don't think
same
we
thing.
disagreed with that at all. Like we're all being cautious and always monitoring those kind of metrics. As the front leading, pack of folk who do this day in and day out, we're not unaware of a lot of the metrics on the environmental side. Yet
Well, then I don't really know what we're
even
debating.
some still on. Well, I wasn't coming into debate.
Okay,
Yeah.
just coming in to have my back.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just big dubs. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm not here to come in and like disprove anything. Not well. I didn't come here at least to do any of that. And the whole idea of bringing us all together, and then also having Katane in here is to help like break a lot of those assumptions and break a lot of those things down, not only for myself, also for chat, because chat also has preconceived notions and develops certain ideas, and independent of us, of course, this chat develops certain ideas and concepts around what they already have as their preconceived notions around also the stuff that we're saying.
I guess though, like you're
So-
saying that you're agreeing, but like the video, like there was a lot of things that you didn't agree with me on, and you said at the end like you agree with me to an extent, and I haven't got all of the way through it.
I think
but
a lot of it came down to the and one of the things where you're just like, man, like this guy doesn't get it was a lot more of these subjective aspects. Whereas when it came to the more direct numbers and stuff, like the average characters are getting slightly more outpaced with the generalized graph of HP inflation. Now we can always talk about the intricacies and yada yada yada. That's for a different conversation or a different part of the conversation. But I agree with you. Right? So we agree way more than I think than you think we do, even though there are a lot of points that we focused on that were the disagreeing points.
okay, well, do you want to open one of those up then?
The disagreeing or the agreeing ones?
The disagreeing, sure, why not?
I could if you
Yeah,
guys want.
100.
Go ahead, go ahead, yeah.
Because otherwise, like, I feel like like, because I mean, I just watched the video, Josh, and there was a lot. There was some of it that you agreed with me on, but it felt like a lot of it was you saying that I was incorrect about certain things, or and that's fine. I accept that, but this conversation now feels quite different to that.
I think from what I gathered, from what I watched for both.
And again, like I came in hot. I'm chilling. I just want to understand a little bit more. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
Go on.
clarification.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. So I think we all agree with the HP inflation and like where it could go, right? And like that could be a problem in the future. I think where I disagreed, and kind of probably where Josh was coming from with his points, was more so I guess like the definition, or rather there's a word that I'm thinking of, the stigma behind what in-game is, like what that represents. Because if we're talking about, as I mentioned earlier, like the try hard, like this is what you're supposed to be here for, then you can't really expect the average player, not specifically you, because I've already established, like, you're kind of like well above the average score wise, you know what I mean? But as far as like them and like that 27K bracket, they're not achieving that. And there's a reason that is well before we get to the HP inflation. So that's my thing about it. When we have that type of conversation, it's like, are we only looking at this and only gonna blame that for why a player couldn't get to this point?
Yeah. Okay, just before we move forward, I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when we are saying, there's a reason why I genuinely, and maybe some people would just disagree with me, but there's a reason why I genuinely really hate the two words that make the phrase skill issue. At the end of the day, there is nothing wrong with being an average player. At the end of the day, there is nothing wrong with being a casual player. I don't want it to ever make it sound like, because sometimes it makes it sound like people, when they say average player or casual, that it's like a slur. Like, oh my God,
I'm not using it
oh
as like
my
a
God,
yeah.
like, oh my God, you're like, holy shit, you're a fucking casual. Oh, dude, you're an average player. Just step it up. Like, please, I just want to make sure that we don't ever fall into that.
We're not using it that way.
A lot of people in chat. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. A lot of people in chat have that same exact point. Yeah.
I cannot stand it. It really makes my blood fucking boil, bro. Because I do, on average, between 50 to 60 account reviews every single week. I do my best to do as many as I can.
Yep.
And it always makes my fucking blood boil when I go to see someone's DA score and the chat spams skill issue. And I made that skill issue emote for like fun, as a meme, as a joke, but there's a time and a place for it. Like, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Like, there's nothing wrong with being an average
100%.
player.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a casual player.
I'm not using it to describe it in that way. I legit mean, like,
but no, I just want to
explaining it.
Yeah, I want to dig back into the point that you made about endgame though. So when you asked a question about endgame and like what we're defining endgame as.
Yes.
So I like, what is the question? I'm confused. What's the question here?
The first one and the second one. The first one about what is endgame, that was the very first question I asked when we got in the call.
Okay.
The question that I asked recently was less of a question, more so of a statement, like a disagreement on, like, I guess, like how we're defining endgame and like what dictates or where a player should be at that point. Because essentially endgame is like the try hard stuff. You know, you don't really expect to, like, if I go to the Elite Four in Pokemon, I'm not going to bring my level 1 Caterpie versus Lance's level 87 Dragonite, right? Like, that wouldn't, I'm not prepared. You know what I mean?
But here, let me stop you there, because like a lot of people assumed that was my argument. And I don't think ALG is also thinking that you're bringing your level 1 Caterpie. But if you're bringing your level like 53 Butterfree or whatever, Butterfree, right? It's going to have a starkly great disadvantage from bringing the Dragonite, from bringing your Mewtwo's, or your bringing your Charizards or Blastoises. 100%. Okay,
right? So
and yeah, go ahead if you at the point.
No. I think I was just going to ask a follow-up question, which was, what are casuals doing in Zenless Zone Zero then? Like, if they're not playing the combat, what are they doing?
Story, lore, and events.
Story,
combat, they can still play,
events,
but they're not doing
games, hangout events.
They're not doing Shiyu, and they're not doing Deadly Assault, and they definitely don't do Tower past 15.
Yeah, I just
only, if like the player base is 90% casual, then 10% is they attempt end game, and they don't even complete it. It's just an attempt. So it's not a lot. Like when people say like mostly casual players play blank, they're not talking about end game from a numerical standpoint.
Okay, so to flip this argument around then, so the players who are more engaged in the end game, the players who are here watching our stream Yap, the players who are subscribed to my YouTube channel and therefore getting the information on my post, they're concerned. Well, I'm not going to say anything about them being concerned or not, but what I am going to say is that 79% of them, their DA scores dropped by more than 5%.
Okay.
And I think that
79%
what that
to
means is
10%
that,
or
like, let's just take the casual thing out of it. I think the players who are playing the endgame, the players who are dedicated to the endgame, are getting put into a position where they're feeling pressured to pull for new characters, and maybe they do, and maybe they don't want to pull for those new characters, but that's kind of up to them. And I think what a lot of my argument boils down to is, I'm going to shout out Razor CT for saying this in chat earlier, is that a lot of players are feeling punished for not pulling the new unit and not rewarded for pulling the unit. It used to feel like you would pull a unit in Zenless Zone Zero and it would feel fun. It would feel like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm able to do this. Whereas now, it's feeling a lot more like, and again, this is subjective. This is just the way I feel. But it's feeling a lot more like you pulled a new unit to get slightly higher DA scores so you can take advantage of a buff this week.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, when did you start feeling that way? Like with what character?
Well, specifically the way that I started to feel this way was with Seed.
Okay. I think you and everyone else feeling that way with Seed in particular, I agree with. Not the character not fun part, but the sentiment. And that was something that I was mentioning with my chat. I really feel like it's just like this DA, it's Defiler. Like this DA is just dog shit. It's not a good DA. Because we haven't had that feeling, I assume, right? You haven't felt that way with any other character, or mostly any other Deadly Assault. And so it's one thing to say like, okay, we feel this way currently about this current DA with Seed, versus like, this has been a recurring pattern.
Well, I mean, Sambi, if I'm honest though, it didn't feel that bad with Alice, but it does feel like since 2.0 hit, it feels like the shill bosses and shill buffs that we're getting are getting worse and worse. Not necessarily worse and worse, like in a like it's bad kind of way, but like they're getting more specific to the characters in particular. And I think like the problem for me then stems from, well, like if it's super specific to the character and it just feels more and more impactful as we combine that shill with the HP inflation. So we have that specific shill, plus then we have the HP inflation. So then what's happening with the end game is it's just trending in a very dangerous direction. I think that's the thing that I'm most concerned about, is that we're combining the shill buffs with the HP inflation, and it will, if the trend continues, it will reach a point where it will feel fucking terrible not to pull a new character.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to see a little more on like, yeah, you can say something, Kate.
The specific buffs for new characters are outrageous. They're
the C buff is ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay, I have to. I think we all agree on this. Like, there is an attack buff for using 2 attackers. Wow. I wonder what team composition, wants you to have 2 attackers.
I play devil's advocate really quick.
Please.
I don't think that one is that bad. I think it's bad for the players.
Chat, clearly lads in chat, I am talking
to you now. Did not invest into attack.
Please do not badmouth other creators.
And Steve, even if you didn't,
we're all chill
Seed,
here,
right? Because you
not
still
EO,
get
not Saint,
the benefit from
not Josh, not Kete.
You still get some buff.
W's only. You can criticize the take, don't criticize the person.
Better. And 2 is them trying to dictate or rather push. Hey, we really want to show off dual DPS, or like we really want to do this thing with this comp. So I feel like it's really powerful, but I can't really say it's any more egregious than getting a 35 or 50% defense shred on whatever it is just from you popping a couple disorders. Or whenever Miyabi was first here, they basically gave every ice unit or every anomaly unit a free AM disc. Like you walk in there and you get AM 6 for free, which let people run attack 6 Miyabi, and you got the same benefits as if you were running 2 disc 6.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like ALG said, from 2.0, the Ishwin, you know, the buff that's tailor made for Ishwin.
Mm-hmm.
If you next time that buff is in DA for Ishwin, it's gonna also probably be the same buff for Idhari, because we know Idhari's Ice Rupture, and that buff also happens to buff ice damage. So it's probably gonna be the same buff for Idhari.
Mm-hmm.
What I think people should start doing is really go into that DA cycle, use the shield buff if you have the character that the buff is for, and then do another clear afterwards without it. I accidentally did that with Seed on stream. I accidentally did that. I was trying to get a 55k run, and I got 47, and I was like, bro, what the fuck? What's going on, bro?
Classic.
And then I was like, oh, wrong buff, right?
He's so good, he
And
didn't even
then-
realize.
Bro,
Oh, my
no.
47k score.
Oh
Bro,
no!
no. We'll blame it on the Astra. Yeah, Astra was carrying. Astra had mind skips. We'll blame it on her. But anyways, this is not my point.
You know I'm about
right?
to do that now. Fuck
It's
her.
not my
Fuck
point.
her, bro.
My point is, I went back and I redid it with the buff. 13k score difference on the first try on just damage alone.
Yeah.
The shield buffs ever since 2.0 have gotten stronger and much better for the specific characters on banner. It's ridiculous. Try running Alice without the Artful buff. You're going to see a significant score difference.
Now, let me ask you, as a
100%.
follow up to that. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. What I want to ask you is, why would it matter? But I don't want to say it that way. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how would that matter for you as a player if you did or did not get that score? Like, if I got the score and you didn't get the score, but I have Seed and you don't, what difference would that make for you? Like, how does that make you feel any different?
Think about it. Okay, here, I'll give you a great example. I was on Reddit this morning, and someone posted a full M0, no signature engines, Seed, Corrin, Trigger Team. None of them had signature engine, but they got 23,000 points, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, I didn't see the gameplay. They only had the screenshot, so I can't tell you what the gameplay looked like or not. But I did see they were using the Seed buff. Now, take that Seed buff away. How high do they get? Think about it. They got 23k with the great buff, with the incredible buff.
If we're
Take
doing
the
it
Seed
based
buff
off the
away.
number you just said with 13k, there's no way they only get 10k.
No,
if
they
they
probably
do-
don't get 10k, but they're definitely probably not getting 20, maybe 18, 19.
Then their build's not ready. And that was something that we were talking about earlier with, like, the math behind it. Because that's a level 1 to level 11. So the first 11 HP bars, you're fighting a Shiyu boss. That's all that is. You're fighting a Shiyu defense boss. And if you can't kill a Shiyu defense boss, you're definitely not handling Deadly Assault. And that's a whole different style of, like, endgame.
But do you see, like, that's a player who probably doesn't see it that way, right? That's a player who probably really listen to me real quick.
Mhm.
That's a player who got that 23k with that Seed Corrin team.
Yep. That
That was really happy, and now they're not going to probably look at their builds and see what they can improve, because they're saying, "Oh, first try with my new Seed team. Oh my god, like, yo, this team is great. I got the 20k I needed for my 3-star." They're probably not going to look at their builds. And then the next time they go and do it without that buff in the future, they're going to go, "Oh, what? Wait, but what happened?" You see what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're saying, I mean, granted, we can mention a couple of factors when it comes to results-based analysis, right? But I think a lot of us, and when it comes to where I kind of conflict with ALG, is that I'm not trying to say you guys should base your feelings on results-based analysis.
So yeah, but you can't invalidate someone's feelings if they feel a certain way about getting a score.
That's fair.
I don't think
And
I'd want to
where I
invalidate
where I
it.
came off, I might have came off in the sense that, like, you should be cold, hard, calculated all the time. You should, assess your build. You should assess your performance. No. I don't mean that at all. But I think where we're coming from, especially when we started this section of the conversation, we cut off all the casuals. We were looking at the players who are trying to approach the end game, weren't we?
That's what I was about to mention.
Yeah,
Like,
so I think that's
at what
also
point do we
what
dictate
we
that?
should say as well, is that like when we're talking about players who are approaching the end game, I think we should be taking what they're saying on faith. Like if they're saying that they're struggling to clear, and I know Kete, like you and I, we've been into people's accounts when they said that they can't clear, and we've seen like absolutely catastrophic builds. But I think we should be taking it on faith that the player base understands what they're doing when they're at that point of play in the game.
I don't think we can though, just specifically because of what you just said. There's more visual reference or evidence for us at least that show when players say like I'm good or I can't clear or I can clear rather, but it's HP inflation, it's the boss, it's the buff, whatever. And then we get on their account and we just smoke it, no problem. Sometimes we don't even have to get on their account. We tell them to like swap the characters around and then they clear it. Oh my God, I got 25K, thanks. Right. And then, they sub up or something like that. We've done that so many times over the last, 6 to 8 months that it's countless. So we can't really take it at face value the same way that we would just have to question it. I wouldn't even say that we have to invalidate it. It's more along the lines of questioning, right? Kate, like just like the comment I showed you yesterday when the guy was like, he has an M6, what was it? M6 Ishwin, M2 Astra, and an M2 Trigger or something like that. And he's like, nah, I can't kill, I can't clear. And it's like and he's so confident that he's like the best player, he knows what he's doing, but he can't clear. None of us have ever recorded anything with an M6 and it's like you're just not doing what you need to do.
Yeah, that was an outlier. Like there's
But that's what I'm saying.
That was an extreme. Like, yeah, okay.
Now
to be fair, that
down,
comment.
Though, you see what I'm saying? Like, if that person thinks they have an M6 and that they're good, they said it in the comment. They're very adamant. I know what I'm doing. I'm good at the game. Like, I don't need anyone to tell me how to get better. It's impossible to kill. There are more players who think that way. They think they're good. They think they know everything, and they don't. And mind you, y'all know this from me. I'm like the one person constantly fighting to tell people learn the game, learn more. There's nothing wrong with learning. If you think you know something and someone tells you that you don't, it's okay. There's no shame in learning or being taught something. That is just me, right? So when we have influence that we all have, we should be pushing that. I'm not saying that we should be calling people ass. We're definitely not doing that. But I am saying that if we get on these people's accounts and we see that, like, oh man, I can't clear, like with the Corrin thing, even if we remove the buff, they have Corrin, and then you look at their build and they have like 47% crit rate. They don't have a good W engine. Their Corrin is core 4 or core E, whatever, right? Or core D, that's 4, yeah. Core D, and their crit damage is like 110 with 2100 attack. They're not clearing. Like, that's just not a good build. That's not in game. And then you go on there and you fix it up. You get them like 2700, you get them 77% crit rate and like 130 crit damage. And now all of a sudden they're hitting way higher numbers,
But that was my point, is that buff was essentially lying to that player, right? Like that player now got that 23,000 points with that insane buff, and they think that their builds are fine. But that's kind of because the buff kind of lied to them.
So do we blame the game for giving you a buff that, relatively speaking, would help you? Or do we blame the player for not having that information, like not taking the time to learn that before or after, even during?
Here's the thing, though. I think a lot of players would reassess the build at that point, though. No? Like, is that not a normal thing to do?
That's what I would think.
I would think.
Yeah, that's the correct thing to do. Is like, hey, I'm not clearing. Let me look at my build.
Yeah, I'm not clearing. Let me check this out. So I don't really think there's any blame necessarily there on the player, and I think, like, I think the players who, like, to bring it back to something you said a little bit earlier, Rio, like, I think the players who are playing the game relatively casual, I think they have just as much right as anyone else to enjoy the end game content.
That's fair. But when it comes to one of my very first points, kind of like when I was like the first like I think like 6 or 8 minutes of my video assessing yours, enjoying the end game content, does that mean getting 9 stars or getting access to be able to tackle the content?
What does that mean, access? Yeah, I was confused by that. What does that mean?
Literally just opening the game mode. Like I can open DA and try it out and play through it.
It was surely everyone. could do
Regardless of, surely, right?
Yeah, but enjoy.
So-
I see what Josh is saying, because I guess like the way that it could be interpreted would be like, does enjoying equal getting that 20k plus or 30k plus score?
That 20k plus, exactly. Where does your enjoyment scale? That's super, super subjective, right? Because I had somebody in my chat also that was kind of along your lines of sentiment, right? His enjoyment drastically changed when his score went from 40k on the same boss from 1 or 2 stages ago, or 1 or 2 iterations ago, to 33. But then I had to really dissect why, right? Why was your enjoyment different from that just slight change? Yet at the very end of it, you got 3 stars. Granted, there is something to be said about, oh, if you went 23, right, Kate, right? If you went 23 or 27, and then without the buff, you only go 2, you're like, ah, man, I missed that star. You know, dang, I feel bad about it.
I think though
right?
it just feels bad, right? It feels bad
Sure,
that you're
sure.
playing against the same boss. You're doing the same
Yeah.
thing. You maybe marginally improved your builds because you might have farmed like marginally better discs. You know, maybe a few substats
Sure.
here and there, and then you get a substantially lower score. I think that just feels bad, man. And I think it's okay for a player to feel like, well, that feels a bit shit. Like, I feel like I put the effort in. I feel like I slightly improved my build, but now I'm fighting Priest with 109 million HP instead of 91 million HP, and that's not my fault. That's just HP going up.
But
I think if
is
I
the
were to
H...
like,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like for me, because I can close it out for myself with this way. I was doing it with chat earlier too. I literally just relate it to sports or anything competitive. You know, if we're playing basketball, we go up against a really tough team. You know, they're tier 1, we're tier 3, whatever, and we just can't beat them. You know, we did our best, but we couldn't win. We're gonna feel bad. Yeah, we're gonna be salty. That's salt. Everyone has that. But what am I gonna do? Blame the referee for me not being able to hit my threes or, you know, get my shots blocked? The way that I think about it, and the reason I think about it that way, is because like there are things that you can do in the game to help you improve that, and we all have the tools. We've all shown that off.
Not
So it may not be
not from a 20% HP difference. You can't fix that. That's not like a quick fix.
What do you mean?
You can't, like, if you have a well-built Yishuan, Panyan Hu, and Jufufu team against the last priest versus the current priest, your score will have gone down. There is nothing that you can, and let's say you're nailing every single Yishuan tech in the book and your substats are fucking perfect, like 40. Like, there is nothing more that you can do.
But I think that goes into what I was mentioning earlier with the where the HP value is affected. For Priest, from the previous one to this one, going from level 1 to level 11, which is the 14k mark to get the 20k, that was only a 3.8 mil difference. And they only, like, that segment from level 18, so the 18th health bar, all the way up to kill, that's where we see that significant jump. And that's us, right? Like, that's the player that's scoring 37, 45, 52, 61, almost a kill. Like, that's up there in that upper echelon, top 1%, top maybe 1.5% bracket.
Yeah, I get
You
it.
know, at that point,
You're diminishing
affected.
it because
That's
you're
why
saying the change is lower. I get it. But like, it doesn't change the fact that let's say someone was only just scraping 15k because they have a shit team for that boss. So that's all they've got. You know, it's their third team. They've only been playing for a few months, and they're scraping the 14k last priest, and now they can't hit it.
Yeah. That's why I was saying earlier, that's a build thing. That would be buff or not buff, HP inflation or not. Those first couple of bars, that's Shiyu defense. Like, that's the same, whatever you would need to kill the Shiyu boss. It's the same thing. And so across all of the little, I guess like the different DAs that we've had, that same little first couple bars, 11 bars, 8 bars, whatever, have all been about the same. They're scaling the beginning. I told Josh this. I don't know. I think Kate knows this, but so Zenless has a gut system, guts from Guilty Gear. Yeah, fighting game, blah, 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 blah. But the way that it works, the gut system basically is the lower HP you have, the less HP you get, the higher your defense value goes. Like, so you just take less damage. Zenless has the same thing, but it doesn't, it's not like obviously a defense thing. So the closer you get to killing the boss, the more HP gets pumped into each one of those bars. So at that lower bracket, so from that first bracket, basically to get your 20K, there's not a lot of HP in there. That's why I keep saying like HP inflation doesn't affect them the way that it affects us. HP inflation to them is literally if we just got a new boss in Shiyu, or they added, you know, a new mechanic in Shiyu, and they have to get around that. That's where that bracket is, and they have to fight for.
I understand that the effect is lessened, but it doesn't change the fact that, you know, and this is anecdotal evidence, obviously, but we're seeing people who, you know, like, and I'm trying to pull it off the top of my head. I literally can't, but like we're seeing people who are saying, oh, I was getting 6 stars, now I'm getting 4 stars. I feel like this sucks.
Yeah, I'm not taking away that they're feeling, right? I don't want to invalidate it. I'm just saying that from the game's perspective and like what we're doing, that's a build issue. Them getting the 14K, I think is what you mentioned before, or the 16K.
Sure,
them getting that period is a build issue first. Oh, hit my mic. That's a build issue, you know, or it could be I know Kate mentioned that thing earlier, and I don't mean it derogatory, but like the literal definition of it, it could be a skill issue. Maybe they don't know something about the fight. Defiler is a really good example for that. You know, we all got that information from Leafa recently about like what phases do what and what you can and can't do in the phase, what dictates that. A lot of us didn't have that information for Defiler, so we just went in there guns blazing to figure it out.
I understand that players could do more to improve stuff, but I think what we're doing here, or it sounds like what's happening here, is you're pushing the blame of HP inflation on the player for not learning more.
No,
for skill issue.
No. So what I'm trying to get across is that, like, while I understand if it continues, it could get worse. I understand that base fact right there. But what I'm adding onto that is that at this current moment, and for however long we've had DA, I think like 8 months, that first bracket to get to 20K has always been dictated by whether or not you understand how to do the fight, or your build is just good enough to do that. The HP part doesn't matter here. When you breach that point, that's where the HP inflation would matter. So I'm not, maybe it's the way I'm wording it, I'm not entirely too sure. I'm not trying to like lessen the effect of the HP. I'm saying that it literally doesn't matter to get the 15 to 20K mark for your points. That is purely a build thing first, and then skill or whatever, and then HP happens. But that's why I asked earlier, like, at what point do we blame the game versus the player?
It's very simple. Like, as HP goes up, it is technically harder to get 60K than it is 20K, just like you said. But I guess in more simple terms is the beginning health bars of a boss on Deadly Assault, they have what, 29 or 30 health bars? The beginning health bars have less HP than the last health bars. So as HP goes up, yes, it does. It's an objective fact that it does get harder to 20K, but it's not as hard as it is to try to get like 50 and 60. That's what
exactly.
It basically
so that's where the people who are doing 40K are now doing 30K. That's where that 10K difference is coming from the people at the topper end who are pretty high performance. I'd say 40K is a great performance, and now they're seeing that threshold, you know, closing in a little bit.
But yeah, I don't.
And understandably, from ALG's perspective, sorry to cut you off.
No, sorry. I feel like you know what I'm going to say anyway.
The feeling of that cut sucks.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? I think we can all agree. ALG, we all agree on that, right?
100%.
It sucks, chat. I don't think you guys. I think we all agree. I think a lot of people, get lost in the sauce with this. We all agree with the, with and validate. Excuse me. Let me roll that back. Excuse me. I had a couple thoughts. My brain farted there. Right. We were never here. We were never here to invalidate your guys' feelings, in particular, the feelings or subjective outlook on what you believe your performance or what you believe your score is a reflection of. Right. But if we're going a little bit into the weeds and the numbers and the minutia of it a little bit, it's harder to mix in a lot of that like objectivity, especially when it comes to in regards to a lot of, just the build aspects that we talked about, the buff aspects that we talked about. And then if any of you guys are on my stream right now, you can see exactly what EO was talking about. Maybe not the exact numbers, but this is a reflection of what EO was talking about. The first, the first threshold here is not changing as much, but the thresholds after are changing. That's where the HP inflation and, again, that aspect comes from.
I think it would be very, very nice for the community if just someone in the community could make a 20K chart every single deadly assault. Because
like which teams hit 20K?
No.
Like
what
the
I
total
mean
amount
is
of HP damage.
what we're looking at right now.
Yes.
What we're looking at right now is the boss's total health. But like, here's an example, right? Let's just do simple maths just to get my point across. Let's say a boss has 100 million health, right? 30 people will say, oh, you got to do 33% of that boss's health, is what most people think. You got to do 33% of that boss's health to hit 20K damage score. That would be 33 million. But in reality, no, that's not true, because like I said earlier, the beginning health bars are less than the final health bars. So it's more like in the 20s, the 20 million, somewhere in that range, right? I think it'd be really nice if someone could make a how much damage do you need to do to hit 20K chart. That way we can have like because I personally just want to see how much harder is it getting to 20K every single deadly assault, since that is the 3-star goal. I wish we had a chart like that.
I think that's
because we don't have a chart like that right now.
That's a lot of work though.
But like,
really quickly,
just to bring it back to the point though, like just in terms of HP inflation, shield buffs, and invincibility phases, making it harder for the player base to clear. Can we just get on the same page that this is not good for the future of the game?
No, it's not. I thought I agree with that at the very beginning of this call.
No, I think you did. I believe that you did, sir. But that's what I came into here to talk about, really. And I just want to make sure that we are all on in the same page, on the same place.
That HP inflation, the shield buffs, and the invincibility phases. HP inflation, I don't typically care for. Like I could, yay or nay it, because it's going up and down.
Okay. So more HP inflation from EO. Is that what we're saying?
No. That's definitely not what you just heard at all. All right. We're not
I know. You just have to understand that that's what people are going to hear, EO.
Fair. No.
Fair.
You
have to educate them. Like this isn't a waffles versus.
We're not trying to be bad faith actors to ourselves. Like we're trying to be good stewards and good representations for the game, and it starts from us, right?
Yeah. Like where I would be concerned is the moment where I can't do something in the game, like physically I cannot do this action or use this team or whatever the case may be that has already worked before. That is where I'd be concerned, but I wouldn't be concerned about like the actual HP of it or the score. Only in Deadly Assault, and primarily because we're not supposed to be able to kill that boss anyway. The reason they keep increasing it, only I can assume this is the reason, is because we're not supposed to kill it. And every single patch, one of us comes out with an M0, W0 kill, 2-cost kill, whatever. So like they're trying to find a way to mitigate that because it's not supposed to happen. Now the shield buffs, like yay or nay on that doesn't really, like I guess the only other thing you could do is just take the buffs away, because if you make mediocre buffs, that does nothing for us. If you make too weak of buffs, we complain. And if you make too strong of buffs, we'll complain. So at that point, the option they would have is just take them away. Then no one gets any extra points and everyone has a significantly harder time, especially the players who are trying to get just 20K to clear. So it's a very tender, it's a tender situation that they would have to approach very carefully. I absolutely agree with you on the invincibility phases though. Not all of them. I think some are really cool, but only if, and I've told my chat this, if there's a way to like a really cool like secret thing that you can do or whatever, like mechanic that you can do to stop the phase and you get rewarded for it, so a high risk, high reward, keep that. That's fun. That's cool. Monster Hunter has tons of those. But if it's like what Defiler has, remove that shit from the game. Defiler is quite literally the worst boss we've had in Deadly Assault because of that. Half the fight is you not being able to hit her. Like, I know people were exaggerating before when they were like, oh man, you know, you can't hit Jane because she goes into her little zip zap zoom. Half the fight, you can't fight her. No, bro, that's like 5 seconds. Literally, Defiler is half the fight. Like 30, 45 to a minute and a half, you just can't touch her. And that depends on if you were good at speeding up the stuns, stopping her from doing certain phases and delaying them, or whatever the case may be. She's a horrible boss. A horrible boss. Great story boss. Awesome. Love her design. But as far as like Deadly Assault goes, she's disgusting.
Yeah. And like the triple axle thing, like people are literally trying to avoid a mechanic they're trying to push at you because we actually get more performance out of it. So like I in that respects, you know, we agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that like, here's the thing, guys. Like, the reason I made that video is because I feel that Zenless Zone Zero is going in a direction that I am not happy with. And I'm saying I here a lot because I just want to be clear that this is my opinion. But I think if we're on the same page about what's happening and what's going on, then it becomes a lot easier for the Western audience to give constructive feedback on the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
not that they care, but like, you know, like if we're talking about it, if we're talking about it, maybe it makes a difference a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was listening to y'all the whole time, but I actually found it. There's a Deadly Assault calculator that has previous old bosses and the new patches coming. So I'm going to use Notorious Butcher as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So the last Notorious Butcher, if assuming you got 5K performance points, so if you had a proper disorder team, because that's the only way you could do that, you needed to do 17.7 million damage to hit 20K points, assuming you got 5K performance points. Now for the next Notorious Butcher, assuming again you got the same 5K performance points, your damage score will have
a big increase, right?
No, this one goes from 118 to 132. So this is the 132 one next time.
Okay.
So the next time he comes back, you got to do 20 million. So it goes from 17.7 to 20 million to be able to 20K, assuming you got 5K performance points. So that damage would actually be higher if you don't get 5K performance points.
Yeah.
So you got to do about 2.3 million more damage get your 20K next time he comes back. If you get 5K performance points.
Yeah. Which, to be clear, when we're talking in the hundreds of millions of health, it doesn't sound like a lot. But to the player who is only getting 17 million now, it's quite a lot.
I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm still gonna be in favor of like build better, but I'm not going to invalidate the feeling and the situation at hand.
Yes,
because I understand it. I do. I think it's just at this point, it would be like, for me at least, a difference in what are we dictating as end game, you know? Because like, and maybe it's because we're like us in the call and anyone else that's in that same bracket, we're like always pushing for the highest score.
I feel that's where we started the conversation. Didn't we talk about that already?
Kind of, sort of, but I mean, Kate kind of brought it back up, I guess.
because I was actually just very curious, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me that calc, by the way, though. That's actually really
Yeah. Some
Yeah, no,
let's calc. Yeah.
It's
that
a
is good. We should
calculator.
have that. Yeah.
Let's do. Well, I'm actually curious. What if you only do?
Yeah.
Because like, there's
Because-
some teams that just can't do disorder against him. So what if they only get like, what, 400 performance points?
I feel like, you know what? Can we talk about that real quick though? Like, archetypes, and maybe this would go into what ALG mentioned before, but 'cause I don't really care who plays what, but I guess there's a difference between playing kind of like jack shit teams and then teams that actually have some advantage or neutral. I feel like they are making bosses. We've seen that. I mean, hell, we literally just got out of the anomaly phase. We've been doing anomaly for so long that a lot of the bosses were just anomaly shills, right? Like they were catered towards anomaly.
Mhm.
And now we're starting to get bosses that are catered towards attack. Do we think that's a problem? Like me personally, I don't. And that's because we just had, what, 6 months of anomaly, and the attack players have just felt shafted.
Yeah.
They've been the ones mainly struggling to like get clears because
No,
they just can't.
I do think that's a problem. Yeah. And the reason
I thought you were gonna talk.
Yeah, sorry. I thought someone was going to jump in, but yeah, the reason why it's a problem is because as the HP continues to go up, it becomes harder and harder to force, right? So if you get a player who joins, let's just use this like rotation as an example, right? Like as in what's happened in the last 3 months as an example. So let's say a player joins in 2.1 or 2.0, they put in some polychromes together and they end up managing to get lucky and get a bunch of characters in 2.1. You can see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
They get a bunch of anomaly agents. And right now, sure, yeah, you can still force Yanagi against Defiler and you can still clear it. That's fine. But like as the HP continues to increase, the restrictions that we're imposing upon the teams that players should be playing against these bosses mean that there's going to be less flexibility and creativity available to the player. Because the player won't, well, the player may not be able to do that as the HP continues to increase. And that depends on a lot of things. It depends on the HP continue to increase. It depends on the buffs. It depends on like a bunch of shit, right? But like, yeah, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's healthy. I don't mind being incentivized. It comes back to that reward versus punish again, right? I don't mind being incentivized to run an attack team, but I don't want it to be impossible to run an anomaly team.
I feel you. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
How would you like recommend controlling meta shifts then?
What do you
Because
mean?
you can't. We only have 3 bosses, so they all can't be open to everything. You know what I mean? Like if you had 3 deadly assault bosses, but you could beat it with every single archetype in the game, at that point we just wouldn't be playing a gacha. Because like at some point we have to acknowledge like, yeah, we are still playing a gacha game, and they're gonna do gacha things.
But again, it comes back to that reward/punish thing, right? It's a case of, oh shit, I'm running this new team against this new boss, and I'm getting hella score. Look at me fucking go. Versus, oh, like the other side of the coin of like, oh man, like I've got 2 anomaly teams and a rupture team or something. I'm gonna run my rupture team here, and then I've got 2 anomaly teams. And shit, that's an attack boss, and it's got anti-anomaly debuff. Well, now I'm just screwed. Like, it should still be forcible. That's my point. It should still be forcible.
Okay. Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. I think it'd be like one of those. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how you still control the meta with that.
It's hard because because we only have literally 5 stages for 5 enemies, and looking at the enemies right now, right, and just as a greater generalization, and I mentioned this in my personal stream before, the Defiler, they want you to go attack or double attack. The Fiend wants you to go anomaly, and the Miasmic Fiend, they want you to go stun and rupture. You can still use attack. Technically, you can still use anomaly, but they would incentivize you to go for stunners, and they incentivize you to go for rupture.
Against what boss? Sorry, I'm confused.
So we have 3 different types of categories here expressed.
Fiend or priest?
Sorry, Priest. My bad.
Yeah, I think
that-
that was
okay,
where
yeah,
I was
my bad.
lost. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, my
Go
bad,
back to
my bad.
it,
So
yeah.
anomaly was Fiend. Sorry, Priest, Stun, and Rupture. Sorry about that, guys. Because chat's gonna run it. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Anyways, so we have 3 different bosses with 3 different specialties. Whereas before we've had two of them be variations on anomaly, and then one of them be like attack-ish, because again, we didn't necessarily have Rupture before, and just generalization, right?
Mm.
And understandable that, especially with this meta, and I have to give you guys credit, we are going into a Rupture meta. A lot of people are afraid, likely Chad, you guys are afraid that we're going to see way more miasma or Rupture specific content be focused on that pulls away from what you had before. Understand?
If I could add into what you're saying, I think me personally, like that specific thing I'm really excited for the Rupture meta. But going into that, I think they are actually doing something that is really good for all the players. But to double down on that, I do believe that as a player, when you're playing an endgame, you should have at least one archetype ready to go for whatever these are. Attack comp or Rupture, anomaly,
Yeah,
or
but what if
whatever else they
what if
decide
the
to
game
make up.
hasn't served that to you? What if you just haven't been offered that? Like, because
Then
remember,
you're
we're
not
not
ready. And you're
we're
just
not
ready
we're not
for
playing a
end
game where
game.
you can just pick any agent that you want at any time. Like, we literally just
fair,
came
that's fair.
through a full anomaly meta, 3 anomaly agents and
Yeah.
anomaly support.
That's
Like,
fair.
if you started
That's
there,
fair.
you have no choices.
That's fair. And this is just one singular point in time in the macro of it all, right? Because to your point, yes, like if you picked up Alice just now, it's going to be a lot more difficult to go up against, a lot of these
It
more
just-
quote unquote
Like,
anti.
like
forgetting-
if I'm honest, it just feels like a lot of the arguments are boiling down to trying to blame the players. But
No, but
We're not blaming the players. It's just a matter of fact that if you haven't picked up these units and you haven't been playing for the breadth of the game, then you can expect yourself to tackle a piece of content, which this is a piece of content that has 3 different specialties.
Oh, wait. Before we, let's all take a chill pill. I do want to point out, I think we're forgetting something, that the game does give you free agents to work off of. Billy, and this part comes down to whether or not you want to do it. And like, if you have no other option and you want to clear, your option is to do it.
you talking about Billy?
Anything. Yeah, Billy's free. He's the first one I named because he's free.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
any free character that we got.
Rezzy's in my chat, like, absolutely capping. Cracked out Billy main because he can't clear, or just scrape the clear.
Well, no, he got the 20K now.
He
got it a
did.
few
He
days
did.
ago.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
got
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He got there. Yeah.
I think he got like 23 or 27, something like that. But he got it.
Easy clap, skill issue.
But that was with Cunning Hairs, right? Like he was only playing Billy, Nicole, and Ambi. So something that I was explaining in my chat was like, let's take your example. Let's say you started in Alice, so you happen to get really lucky and you built into Alice, right? So maybe you got Alice, you got Yuzu, and like that's your premier team right now, and then you're moving on and you're like, okay, what do I invest into next? So you look at your account, you look at what's free, and you look at what you can manage right now, and then you work on the next thing. So 2 characters that I was going to mention, Billy, or you can get Nekomato or Soldier 11 because the standard ranks, and then we have Monado coming out, who's allegedly free, and that's going to be so beneficial for a lot of players. Even if they everyone wanted him BS rank, and I'm like, that's the worst thing possible for y'all, because then you would have 3 Rupture S ranks with no real option to pick from.
It just it does feel like, I mean, I couldn't clear with Billy. Like Rezzy scraped it, right? I feel like most of us on this call probably aren't Billy mains. We probably couldn't clear with Billy. I don't think saying getting good with Billy is going to help you in the end game. Like, I don't think that's really helpful at all. In fact, I think that's really
Yeah, but the
unhelpful.
fact, no, he was saying it's possible, and that's where my argument with the run and bun came in. That if you really wanted to use these units, it is available to you, but you're gonna have to work that much harder for it.
But again,
But you
I
can't
feel like
invalidate that work.
No, we're not
that makes
invalidating the
sense.
work, but you can't push the blame on the player base for not wanting to
No,
literally
yeah, I'm not
spend
blaming them for
hours
not
sweating.
wanting
None of
to
us
do
were.
it.
It's none of us were saying that it's
Yeah.
the player's fault.
I'm not blaming them for not wanting to pick Billy. Like, I don't even want to play Billy. I think he's cool as shit. But I don't want to play Billy. but that's just because I don't like gunners like that. So I don't want to blame them for not playing Billy. I'm only presenting them as like, these are the options that you have, like as a player. And this is across any, I'm gonna say something to ALG after this, but I think it's funny. Not a disrespectful thing. It's just funny, really funny. Because I went through the same thing. But when you're playing a gacha game, you have to take your account essentially at face value. If you don't have it, there's nothing you can do. You can't force it in the game. You can't, hope and pray. You can't beg the devs. You can't email the devs. Like, whatever you have is what you have. And if you're trying to do something, you have to use what you have or spend money. And most players who are free to play clearly don't want to spend money. And so when we look at it from that perspective, it's not so much me saying like I'm blaming them or we're trying to blame them for not using Billy. It's more along the lines of like, sometimes that decision has, and this is just life, you have to make that decision, A or B. You can't sit in the middle and then just like cross your arms and huff and puff. You know what I mean? Because then nothing gets done. So if you want it, you go for it. If you don't, and to be fair, Deadly Assault only gives what, like 300 poly or something like that. It's really not that big a deal. If you can't clear all 3 bosses, skip one, clear the 2 that you can, and keep it pushing. And you really don't lose out on your rewards that you want, but you do lose out on the score if you care about the score. But we've already established that most of the players just only care about the rewards. But that's just one factor to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally just one factor to that. And Billy isn't the only character available. That's just the free one that I came up with off the top of my head. They still have Anton, they still have Corin, they still have any of the A ranks, really, any of the standard S characters. They can use that, and depending on what's going on, right? Because I have someone running a free-to-play account now, and they did start with Alice. They got Alice. They happened to get lucky and get Yuzu. Thankfully, they did not need her engine. And so now, after that little bit of breathing time, they're playing Billy, and then they picked up Seed because Billy and Seed works for them. Because you're getting Monado for free, right? They don't really stress about anything else. Now they're just saving up everything that they can. But it's like one of those situations where you have to look at, when did you start and what do you have? A lot of people started in 1.4. There is more accounts, especially from what we look at, have a Haramasa, but refuse to play him, even though he would probably solve a lot of problems for a lot of players within the attack meta. Like, hey, I can't clear, or I have an electric agent, or this is electric weak. I don't want Seed. I don't want Sambi. You have a free Haramasa sitting on your account. Play Haramasa. Then you get into the conversation of like, I don't want to do that. And that's a personal choice, but you have options.
So I got lost in the source there. I'm not gonna lie.
Being oh man, there's no worse feeling in a gacha game, being forced to use a character that you don't enjoy playing.
I completely hear you. I'm not saying that that's a great feeling.
There's
either.
no feeling. There's no feel. There's no worse feeling, bro.
Literally only explaining that if you've put yourself or happen to get into a position, what other choice do you have?
Yeah, again,
you can complain and do nothing, or you can complain and do something.
I feel like I'm lost. I'm so lost. I'm not sure what the point is, but the answer is you could use Billy. Is that what we're saying?
You can use whatever you have access to on your account. My point is that you work with what you got, and your option from that is complain and do nothing, or complain and do something. But like that is life. That is just how you are. If I don't like my job, I quit, or I complain and I stay there to make more money. But I can't just go to work one day, sit at the desk, and like, I'm not going to do anything until you give me a raise. Someone's going to call the cops and I'm going to get escorted out of there, right? But you can't do that in a gacha game. It's a gacha. The company's job is to make money. As a free-to-play, my job is to not spend money, but still enjoy the game to the best of my ability.
It's meant to be fun, though.
Yeah, but
it is meant to be fun.
Yeah,
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But like, okay, ALG, let me ask you, what else can you do? Not how you feel, not like, what the company's going to do, no HP inflation. What else can you do? If you have an account and you're trying to clear, you want to clear, and you have a Haramasa or a Billy or a Nekomata or a Soldier, but you don't want to play them. You only want to play Anomaly. What else can you do?
I think
go on.
You were saying, I think you were saying earlier to just make more neutral bosses that aren't attack or anomaly shield. There's like an equal playing ground.
Yeah, I guess, but that wouldn't really be answering EO's question, because EO's question is like, what would you do if you were in that position? And I guess the answer is that you would do the best you can with the units you have until you can pull more units. But realistically, though, that's playing into the way that the way the gacha works overall. But like the reality of the situation is that a lot of players, maybe myself included, might feel that if they were put in that position where they had to play a character they really didn't want to play, that they would just be like, well, fuck this.
Yeah,
and that's what we're talking about.
To you.
And that's what we're
I
talking
thought
about.
Was funny. Yes.
Because we don't want players to be like, well, fuck this. We want players to enjoy the game.
So ALG, I think I had to come to this realization too. You don't like gacha games, and that's completely okay.
You can't really tell me what I do and don't like, though.
Well, okay, I can't say that, but based off like what you're saying and like the enjoyment, gacha games are haha gacha, like that is what they're going for. And when we as a player or person don't like that, then we obviously speak up about it. But we speaking up about it isn't gonna magically change the gacha from being a gacha.
Yeah, but like,
you know what I mean? Like, it's still gonna do.
The fact that the business model is shit doesn't mean that I can't enjoy the game. Like the business model is shit. It's always
like you don't like the gacha, like the genre of gacha, the monetization of gacha, not the game, like not Zenless. I legit mean the gacha. I hate the gacha personally because of what it entails and like what it's pushing for, right? Like, hey, give me what's the accurate number? $472.95
but like
for this character, right? Like, I hate that.
But hating the gacha also comes with the idea of like hating the idea of, oh, well, they're going to shill this particular character to sell this particular character, and that's the way that the gacha works. I just wish that it wasn't so overt. But the reason why I wish that it's not so overt is so that more players can have more fun with the game. And therefore, they stay for longer, they pull for more characters, and they have more fun. And not only that, but by power creeping in the way that we are, with HP going up at the rate that it's going, like, what happens if someone pulled an M6 character in like 1.3 or something? Or what happens if they pull them right now? HP continues to trend up. They realize that even whaling can't save them because they still have to pull the new fucking character. And then they're in a position where they're like, it feels like their purchase was invalidated. So we're going to piss off the whales, you're going to piss off the dolphins, you're going to piss off the free-to-plays, and then we're going to be fucked.
Really quickly, can you give me an example of like where M6 is, you know, put in a position of either like of a neutral playing field or, you know, maybe even
pre-buff
of detriment? I think Ellen can Ellen still clear, you know, the final
pre-buff Ellen could clear,
Ellen.
Yeah, pre-buff Ellen could clear, but it was annoying to do, but she could clear it. Now, if we're talking about a kill, that's different, but clearing, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you're picking up on a really small portion of what I'm saying there, and you're trying to dig into it and poke holes in it, and I get it. That's fine because you're trying to poke holes in the logic. But like, let me put it slightly differently. What I mean is that like, if let's say someone's not even a whale, they're just, you know, a light spender. They pull a character, you know, a few patches ago, and then because of the way increases are going, they feel like they then need to pull another character and another character, and it feels like that even that light spending, like when that isn't enough to keep up, then we should be concerned. And I'm not saying that's what's happening now, but what I am saying is that we got a cart that's heading towards a cliff, and we can say something before we get there, or we cannot.
Yeah, that's why I said before, you're going through exactly what I went through with Genshin Impact. This is before it was cool to hate Genshin. You are experiencing exactly what I experienced with Genshin, and I stopped playing for a full year because of that. The problem is the gacha. You are one man, and you're attempting to rally the troops right now to fight against the concept of the gacha, and I'm 120% behind you. If you can somehow get like everyone together and like, hey man, get all of the gacha out of here, fix the game, make the bosses neutral, I am with you. But we are fighting a battle that is like not our fight. Like it's so hard for us to do that. You know what I mean? And like the concept alone of fighting the gacha or like not liking the gacha elements is okay, because I still enjoy the game. I still like the game. And I think you still like the game to a degree, right? But
I love the
It's
game.
really like,
But
we're climbing Mount Everest with that one.
But here's the thing though, is that the gacha wasn't so overt, it wasn't so extreme all the way up until probably 2.0. Like it didn't feel super chilled. It felt great. Like, because you could pull the new character and have a lot of fun, or you could not, and you could still clear with whatever the fuck you wanted to. Relatively easily.
Kind of, sort of. I will say, like, to that credit, Anomaly was just cracked. So a lot of what you could do to have fun was predominantly Anomaly. And that was shield. Anomaly was heavily shield. So that's why I said earlier, like, players who didn't invest into Anomaly, like one of my friends, he only had Harumasa on his account. He didn't have Miyabi because he didn't like her. I know that's crazy to say, but he didn't like her, so he didn't pull her.
That's
you know,
fine.
and like that was something he had to deal with. It was like, okay, how do I beat this boss? How do I deal with Bringer? You struggled. Like his answer was figure it out or struggle. But that's what they had to deal with. Attack type people or attack type mains had to deal with that in particular. But like I said, I'm with you. You know, like if it didn't exist, it would be way more fun. It would be so much more beneficial for so many different players. Like I'm telling you, the sentiment is there. I'm with you on that.
No, I get it.
We are fighting Mount Everest.
So you're not with me. That's what you're saying.
No. That's not what I said.
No.
I'm like, honestly, like it does feel though like we're kind of like talking in circles. But I appreciate the chat though, boys. I am gonna dip because it is pretty late on my end. But yeah, it's we can do this again sometime.
For sure.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like it's an ongoing conversation because we're arguing, quote unquote, and we're talking about a very pinpoint in in the timeline of Zenless Zone Zero, right? And as we go further and further, we get more evidence, we get more points to talk about, we get more backing for either or claim XYZ, regardless of where my position is or where your position is. Because I think we're all in the same kind of relative boat, right? And whether you're on the front side of the boat or the back side of the boat for EO, right? Like we're all really trying to.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just saying we all want to support the game and the players and allow us to succeed, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna.
I don't think we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out. Yeah, but yeah, it's been real, guys. It's been fun. I'm gonna dip out because I feel like I've been ignoring my chat for long enough, to be honest with you. But yeah, thanks very much for the chat. I'll look forward to any further reacts of my content. I'm guessing I look forward to one of yours, EO.
I can't make one less than an hour, so I don't know.
I'm surprised I made mine 30 minutes. Yeah, I did leave out some stuff.
Wait, so you said you can't make it less than an hour?
No, I really needed to have this talk with you, and I was waiting for it. I really don't need to release a video because like we already talked about it. And then everyone's chats can kind of hear the same thing. Really, if I made a video, I'll repeat myself. But you know, it's. I think we're both on the same understanding, and I understand you a lot more from like the position that you're coming from and how you feel about it.
Here's the thing: I had to. My whole point is that I wanted to explain it as clearly, as simply as possible, which is why my video was 5 minutes. But yeah, there are fucking holes all over it. It's fine for there to be holes all over it. Like as in like I could have made a lot more clearer points and driven it home more with a lot more clearer statistics and stuff. But I tried to do it really fast.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to
understandably.
Like I've been there. Trust me, I'm the guy that I put a video out there and people like on me about it. You know what I mean? So trust me, I know.
And then from my perspective, right, like because it was 5 minutes, me diverting into certain directions with that conversation, right, missed some of the points that you were trying to make, right? Not to blame you for again the brevity of your video, but that's just kind of the flow of the the conversation, the flip,
Cool. All right. Okay. I'm gonna dip, boys. Thanks for the yap.
All right.
All right. For
Bye.
sure. For sure.
I'll love,
Do your
man.
thing.
Boys. I'm opening my chat again. What the fuck was that? Bruh. It's tough, right? Because I feel like in a way I understand where they're coming from. But also I don't. But also I don't. I tried hard, but I also wanted to make sure that everyone had a time to say something. I think I came in way too hot, and that's on me. That's my bad, guys. I came in way too hot. Told you to be there for you. Kete, W Ketes. Huge W's Ketes. Thank you for the $5. But yeah, I think, I did come in way too hot. Because I thought I was coming in, like, genuinely, I thought I was coming in completely on the back foot. And I was like, I will not be talked over. Like, I wanted to make sure I have my points in there. And I thought that, they'd maybe prepped what they wanted to say to me and stuff. I came in way too hot. Way too hot. And I realized that. I came in guns blazing. I just started blasting. I came in and I started blasting. And then to be honest, at the end, I don't know, man. I don't know. It was good. It was good. It was a good chat. It was a good chat. I had a good time. W's for Kete, W's for Rezi, W's for Josh and EO for like peddling back some of like it feels like peddling back some of what they said. Because I think Josh in particular, his video, it was quite reductive of my arguments. As in like it was breaking them down to like the simplest level to make them sound like silly or foolish. And I get that. It's a really good debate technique, but like it just felt a little bit disingenuous. So yeah. EO did a lot of talking. Walt Walker, please be nicer. You will get timed out. John Crazy, was EO's final take this is a problem, but the fight is too hard, so we should just suffer. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Nix, talk to me one-on-one. I will. Nix, I promise I will. Just not right now, bro. I will. I promise I will. But right now, I have to go to sleep. I was meant to go to bed half an hour ago. I got very busy. I gotta take my son to rugby tomorrow. It's gonna be busy. It's gonna have to be up super early. Anyway, Banani Buns, thank you for this. Banani Buns is here. Hi, Banani Buns. How's it going? Anyway, I'm closing it off, boys. I think it was good to open the conversation. I have no idea what's gonna happen in the future, but yeah. Anyway, closing it out the only way we know how. Yes, for sure. Of course we are. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for the for all the love. Thanks, St. Tontus, for the raid. Much appreciated, brother, if you're still here. It was sick. But we're gonna wrap it up. I don't know if I represented everything I should have done. And I feel bad about it. Maybe I could have done better. But I didn't want to come in too hot. Anyway. I love you all. Peace. Wait, are we raiding? Hang on. We're raiding Shanaha. You're raiding Shanaha, and you will watch the Horse Girls, and you will like it. Right, I'm turning YouTube off.